morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. We're at 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mac, Matthew Rocchio. I'm Randy Karraker. Great to have you with us for this Thursday edition of the opening drive. Happy Friday Eve, kids. How we doing?
I'm doing great. It looks a little cloudy outside, possibly some rain in the forecast.
Little second alert weather for you, Brooke.
Okay.
Rain's supposed to arrive, according to the iPhone, by 8 a.m. this morning. That's why it's second alert, because we really don't do it.
We don't have
first.
all the fancy setup that they have.
We don't have our
TV
Doppler
stations.
radar in place.
No.
But rain by 8 a.m. and then rain until the noon hour, and then it'll clear up a little bit more cloudy, but a high of 74 this afternoon in St. Louis. That is your second alert weather here on 101 ESPN.
Could have an impact with the PGA Championship, too.
Oh, yeah.
That tees off. It was supposed to tee off about 15 minutes ago. They've had a weather delay. I think they had fog in the area, so it has been delayed a little bit, but that could certainly have an impact on the PGA Championship.
Why not just use yellow golf balls?
Do you use those?
I do. A yellow and orange. Love them.
And you still lose them.
I still do. I still do.
It's a little brighter to find.
I don't know why I get upset about losing golf balls, because I'll never have to buy another golf ball for the rest of my life. I have no idea. I have so many golf balls in my basement.
Oh, I thought that you were just doing a little payola for somebody.
No
they
such
give
luck.
you golf balls.
No, I've just got a lot of golf balls in my basement.
You know, we were talking about things that you lose yesterday, and this morning I was a little groggy, so I wake up, I usually put on my glasses, I read a little bit, and I really went 5 to 10 minutes looking for glasses this morning, and where do you think they were?
On your head?
On your
They
head.
were on my head.
Oh. That happens, especially after talking about that, too.
I go in the shower, I'm like, did I wear them in the shower? Where did I wear these things? They're on top of my head.
It's amazing what we do. It really is.
Just stupidity.
Yeah, if you didn't stay up late last night, good for you. The Cardinals fall to the Angels by a score of 7-2. Failed to sweep the three-game series. Lance Lynn gets hit for 4 earned runs in the first before settling in. He gave the Cardinals 5, but the offense only had 6 hits against Griffin Canning. He went 6 innings with just 1 earned run allowed. And one positive from the game would be that 1 earned run was a solo shot from Paul Goldschmidt, who's back, baby. Just his 4th home run of the year, but I think his 3rd this week.
Well, that's the bunnies and roses of it, right? I mean,
Yes.
either way, you're not able to get another series sweep in this situation. They should have been able to sweep the series against the Angels. You had a lot of momentum going, and they weren't able to capitalize. Speaking of which, runners in scoring position, that just continues to be an issue with the Cardinals. 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position last night, 11 left on base. And right now they're hitting 191 with risk.
Back in the day, the football Cardinals, and Dan, you know this gentleman, his name was Gene Stallings, was the last head football coach of the St. Louis football Cardinals before they moved to Phoenix.
He was a ball
He was
coach.
a ball coach. How you doing, Coach? Mighty fine, Randy. But he'd come in every Monday after the game, because inevitably the Cardinals would have. No, not really. They actually were decent under him in 86 and 87. But when they did scuffle, he would say, "We're kind of scuffling." And that's what the Cardinals are doing with runners in scoring position. They're kind of scuffling.
You know, they gave up 3 more home runs last night. That's 51 now on the year. That's 3rd most. And you think about how the game is predicated on power. They've only hit 32. You know, so that's one of the issues that they have. And, Brooke, to your point, that's where you want to get the sweep, because the Angels are on pace for 110 losses. You know, you go into that game and you just say, let's get some momentum into the off day, into what is a really big homestand. They've got the Boston Red Sox, who are pitching at the #1 clip in baseball. Then you have the Orioles, who, by the way, have not been swept in over 100 series. I mean, it's an incredible run that they're on. And then you have the Chicago Cubs in head-to-head matchups, which are so important, as we talked about, with the reduction in games head-to-head within the division. So this is a crucial homestand coming up for the Cardinals.
For whatever reason, even though the Cardinals did have that nice run, they won 3 out of 4 to end that road trip, because of the competition that's coming to town, I have real concerns about what the Cardinals will be able to accomplish on this homestand in terms of winning games.
And rightfully so. It was just a weird game from the start. One, not a great start for Lance Lynn, of course, as you mentioned there, what happened. Things really blew up for him early on, but also just weird from the start seeing Matt Carpenter wearing batting gloves. And that just, just the whole tone from the start of the game on just felt really off for this team.
Did you guys hear why he did that?
No.
I did not either. I was just curious as to why he did it. Yeah, when he popped in there with batting gloves, I'm like, what is going on here? Lunar eclipse?
Yeah.
You know, what do we have going on here?
Yeah, you have Lance Lynn starting, Matt Carpenter leading off. You're like, what year is this?
Yeah.
By the way, on Friday when the Cardinals open that series against Boston, they are going to pitch big game Gibby Jim, Kyle Gibson, and that's probably the best way to start a homestand. And he's going to go against Brian Bello of the Bo Sox. So that one, tickets available for First Beer Friday over at the ballpark on Friday night, and then the weekend against the Red Sox. And good prices for tickets throughout the course of the weekend.
I was breaking this down. There's been 19 starts. Michaelis, Matt, Liberatore, Zach Thompson. The Cardinals are 6-13 in those games with an ERA of 6.5 with those guys combined. So you had to take advantage of the game last night with Lynn. You have Gibson going on Friday. Sonny Gray will get a start this weekend. But those are the games that when those three are on the mound, you just somehow, some way have to take advantage of it, and they didn't last night.
So it's really going to stretch your bullpen then, is what you're seeing as well. Because now you're in the spot where you have Matthew Liberatore, which I know they have kept him on a pitch count. What that situation will be, I think that he is slated to be the starter for Sunday, but they kind of have been managing in a way of saying he might start, he might come out of the bullpen. I think you should give him a set role moving forward. Okay, you're the starter from here on out, or you're in the bullpen from here on out.
100% agree.
Well, I think it's a little bit of an indictment of what you have potentially. Is it Graceffo,
McGreevy,
Roberse? Am I saying that right?
He has said it many different ways.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could really you could pick a year, honestly.
You're just not feeling comfortable. I would assume. I mean, if they felt comfortable with one of those guys coming up, they'd be here.
And where they were drafted, the year they were drafted, they should be here by now. Everybody else is bringing up pitchers more quickly than these guys are coming up.
I think in 2021, they have not had a member of that draft class come up. Now, 2020 was outstanding. 2019, you had Thompson and Palante. So you got to hit on the drafts, which for the most part, Randy Flores has done. I think he's done a really nice job. Going back to Liberatore, in his career as a starter, only 85 2/3 innings, but the average against him is 301. And when he's been in the bullpen, he just looks like a better pitcher to me.
Yeah, he does. By the way, one other item about Randy Flores in the draft. I honestly think that they could be drafting great talent, but by the time it gets here or when it gets here, it's not what it should be.
I think they really push guys.
Yeah.
You know, and have they pushed him? I think it's a question that could be asked, you know, like a Nolan Gorman. Now, he had 27 home runs last year, but he's not a polished player yet. We're seeing that. And some of these younger guys aren't polished yet. Have they been pushed? And some of it is out of necessity, like a Victor Scott to start this season. But, you know, are you pushing a little too hard? Probably not, but the gap between AAA and Major League Baseball is really wide in terms of just how good it is.
Soccer last night over at City Park. It looked like St. Louis City SC had taken the lead right before half, but the goal was disallowed because of a handball. LAFC knocks off St. Louis City SC 2-0. City loses just their second game of the year and their first at City Park. City had 58 possessions in the game, and they are now no wins, 3 draws, 1 loss when they win the possession battle this season. So you don't want to have the ball if you're City SC.
What was the deal with the refereeing last night? Matthew, you were there, correct? You saw it. What happened?
Yeah, it was terrible. I'm not sure exactly what the heck was going on, but Martin Kilcoyne made an Angel Hernandez reference. So that's about all you really need to know about the level of officiating. There were some pretty normal calls that were 50-50, and then there was just a tide of like 7 bad calls in a row against City that, I mean, they were egregiously going against City. City got 2 different yellow cards where a City player with possession of the ball was tackled, and then that player was given a yellow card, which doesn't happen very often in soccer.
Tim Donaghy action going here,
including Anthony Marcanic getting his second yellow card of the game as he's being pushed down to the ground. They give him a second yellow card because as he gets pushed, his arms go up and he catches the guy in the face. Somehow that's enough for a second yellow card. He gets red, and the game's on its head at that point.
Bad.
Do you guys think that that's why casual fans are not into soccer as much, because the refereeing can be egregious? And I don't like saying that umpiring lost you a game or a referee in football lost you a game, even though it might be a factor. I don't like saying that that's the reason you lost. But sometimes it seems like in soccer, it truly is the reason that you lose a game.
It might be a reason, but I would think before that is guys laying on the ground. I don't think Americans want to see guys laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the game, though.
Yeah, it is.
I'm with you.
It's still very entertaining to watch. But in that situation last night, there was just too many things. There's been a lot surrounding MLS refs this entire year going into this. We know about the pay, different things like that. But in that game specifically last night, I feel like handball, that whole situation, it feels like goalie interference in the NHL, where it's just there's so much controversy surrounding it of what exactly it is.
Yeah, maybe they need to get rid of replay. I'm just saying that would help us last night.
You guys fans of replay, generally speaking?
Yes, I am. Get it right.
too.
Get it right.
Yeah, ultimately get the play right.
Right.
I'm with you.
I felt bad for the reliable mechanic, though.
The problem is the handball ruling is it's kind of like the catch ruling in football.
Exactly.
Where it's not as egregious as the catch ruling in football, but it's just there's too much wiggle room in, did the player make themselves bigger? Did they change the path of the ball? Like all the little intricacies. I think honestly, even though the first handball helped City, I thought both handball calls were bad.
Randall, hold on. Before you go to the NBA, we're watching a little golf. They've got like a rain delay going on. Again, another question for you guys. If you could watch, and Randy said, do you want to watch the featured group that's got Tiger, or do you just want to watch the coverage of the PGA Championship?
I'm always taking Tiger.
I think I am too.
I still am, yeah.
I think he just moves he is the needle still.
You just want to watch him. I mean, even just seeing him in person for the PGA Championship, it was definitely, you knew where he was. You could figure out quickly because the crowds would always follow him.
His shot on 9 is still one of the greatest shots I've ever seen in golf, where he had to hook it, and he puts it, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet from the hole. He's probably 175 out or something like that. The big crowd is following him. Literally, the place was shaking. I mean, when he hit that shot, because now he's making it, it's a typical Tiger push on the back 9, and it was awesome. It was so much fun to see. But I think I'm with you guys that I'd generally like to watch him play. Even if he's like 20 shots back, I still watch him play.
I'm the same way. All right, NBA, the Celtics vanquish the Cavaliers in 5. Celtics win last night, 113-98. Close to a triple-double for St. Louis and Jason Tatum. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Al Horford had 22, 15, and 5. And then Jaylen Brown with 11 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. And Boston moves on. 3rd year in a row that they have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. Thunder fall to the Mavericks 104-92. And the Mavs lead that series over the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. They lead that series 3-2. NHL playoffs last night. The Avalanche stay alive. They knock off the Stars 5-3. Stars still lead that series 3-2. All right, we're off and running here on the opening drive. Next up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO.
Do you guys want like a heartfelt? Do you want it to be kind of monotone?
I want some enthusiasm,
Yeah.
man.
Yo-ho!
There we go.
Wow.
I was a little singing with it,
That was stunning.
Came from the gut.
I felt it.
Awesome.
Dan. I
We've
felt
got
it.
sick of it. If that doesn't
the
get you
heart.
fired up, nothing will. Sick of it coming your way on 101 ESPN. Time for Sick of It here on the 101 ESPN. And guys, we know how much they love baseball in the Dominican Republic, right? It's just, it's a way of life. It is a rite of passage. It is close to a religion. San Pedro de Macorís is the home of many Major League Baseball players. And yesterday in San Pedro de Macorís, there was a duel at a gas station, according to TMZ, in the Dominican Republic. And one guy, these are baseball fans, one guy is on the ground and battling back. He's got a sword in his hand, like every fight. And he chops off the other guy's hand.
As one does.
Yeah. Now, the guy who had his hand chopped off with his other hand picked it up and walked away. I am so sick of people trying to do Jim Abbott. Let's let him be. He can be one guy. He can be an individual.
Really?
I'm so tired. I'm so sick of people everywhere. And I know they love baseball, but yeah,
Rock,
we don't need
stop
that.
it.
I thought it was a little insensitive to start clapping, and then considering the moment.
Let's
I thought it would be better if I.
What time is Tiger Woods teeing off today, Dan?
Yeah, he just teed off. We got Kyle Gibson coming on.
Oh, okay. There we
Greg
go.
Amsinger.
Randy, it's called defending your honor. Try it sometime.
Randy, I had no idea where that story was going. Why?
I'm sick of it.
Why? Also, bringing a sword to a fight, that seems unfair.
I think both people have to have a sword, right?
Greg audio, read it, rock and roll.
Like a proper duel, like
better to
Andrew
have-
Jackson style.
You know what they say? Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Well, like, are we talking like a
reset?
legit sword?
Yeah, video available.
No, I don't want to see that.
Video taken by Eyewitness News in San Pedro de Macorís.
Do we need to
Available for you at TMZ.
No.
Oh, we will need a fighter, but hold back your text for now.
Okay.
Warning: graphic video.
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
Burleson
But
be
I
in
feel
the
like I already
top
have like a
five of the
good
lineup?
He needs a
grasp of
transplant
it.
now.
Did the guy realize that the Deadpool movie already got made?
Oh, I don't know.
Good tryout.
Greg Amsinger coming up.
Man.
I had no idea where that was
I'm
going.
bleeding.
Yeah.
Randy, are you watching the video right
Yeah,
now?
I am.
That's a little bit too much. It is 7:20 a.m. You shouldn't be watching graphic video like that. I feel like anytime past, well, you shouldn't be watching graphic video in general. I should start with that. But I feel like it might be a little bit too early of a time frame for that. That's a later in the day
I had a
activity.
protein shake for breakfast. I'm good.
Oh, you're fired up. Okay. Well,
Can
this
Rory
is
stay hot? PGA Championship preview.
Dan. I have a different one for
Yes,
you. I
go
promise
right
this
ahead.
does not have any graphic violence
No
in
silliness,
this
huh?
one. As of now, at least. Just kidding, because littering is something that I'm always sick of. But there is something specifically very weird going on in the parking lot where we park here, and there's a lot of people in our building. So I don't know if it's somebody specifically with this radio station, but every time that I leave work, there are orange peels all around my car, and you can see them all throughout the parking lot. And there's also banana peels, and you know what's just literally feet away? A giant dumpster.
If it
A
wasn't,
giant dumpster right there. So I'm sick of people who are littering. And okay, it could be worse. I understand it could be plastic. So I'm grateful it's not plastic. But why do you just peel your orange and just throw it out of your car? Just take it over to the dumpster that's just a few feet away.
if it wasn't fruit, it would have Iggy's fingerprints all over it, right? But it's fruit, so probably.
Radio wars, Randy. We don't need those. We stay in our own lane.
No, I think he would admit that. He does like fish in the microwave in the morning.
Did he really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Fish?
Yeah.
They did that their very first week they came over here, and honestly, seeing that from far away
That had
still
to
was
stink.
the funniest thing in the world. The Riz Show freaked out. The
It
Riz
had to smell.
The Riz Show blasted them on the air. So essentially a third of St. Louis knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Except me. Although it had to stink.
Oh
It did.
yeah, they were furious.
It was bad.
Oh, yeah.
But Brooke, to your point, yes, why do people do that? That's
just lazy.
And it's so insensitive, right? And you might think, oh, well, this is biodegradable. It's going to go away. You have a trash can 5 steps away. Just put it in the trash can.
Well, and also it attracts a lot of ants. So that's
does.
another thing that I'm looking out for.
And
Lots of
cicadas,
ants.
apparently.
Oh, not
They're
those
all over the
things.
place.
Yeah, right.
Loud. Base of your trees.
Can we make the cicada?
No, you can't.
I just did the cat purr.
But I mean, still, it could be worse items that you are throwing out But it looks weird when you go to your car. All of a sudden, there's just orange peels all around it.
So
and somebody
don't
even
step on
asked
the banana peel, right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
you'll
you can't
fall.
do
you don't want
that.
to slip, yes. But even somebody asked me because one of the salespeople saw me get into my car one day, and they were like, "Are you the one who's doing this with the orange peels?" I said, "No, I promise it's not me." But then it looks like me, so I feel like I'm being framed here.
Okay, he's a great guy, just became a father. I do love watching him play. He's got 52 top 10 finishes. I'm sick, though, of seeing Scotty Scheffler win everything. He does everything right, but I'm just sick of him winning. I want to see somebody else win.
It did not take long for his dominance to become unpopular.
Are you sick of watching him win?
I'm not. No, I love the performance.
How about give me Tiger? Give me Xander
love Tiger.
Schauffele.
Somebody, yeah, but when Tiger was doing it, we never said that, though. You and I didn't. I know a lot of people did.
There's a lot of people that were like, get him away.
Yeah, yep.
He wins everything, dominates too much.
Yeah.
Tiger's
By the way,
playing right now.
Did you notice that in honor of the PGA Championship?
I did notice that.
I'm wearing my PGA Championship shirt, which you can see, by the way, on our Air Alliance team studio cam. Just to go to YouTube and type in 101 ESPN STL. Matthew, what do you got on the old text line?
I'm sick of getting ugly stares after I end a streak of pay it forwards at the coffee shop.
Great coffee shop people.
I know. So basically, this person is saying, do you know what they're talking about? Where you do the nice thing where you say, okay, I'm going to get the person behind me, I'm going to get their order, and then you hope that the nice streak continues. This person is saying that they put it to a halt. It depends because you never know if there's going to be a big family behind you or something really expensive that is going on. I get it.
I love paying it forward.
Well, now I look
try
like
to
a
do it all the
jerk,
time.
Dan.
But I get right out of there and I make sure they don't see who did it because you try to do it like Robin Hood.
Yep.
I respected the people that ended the pay it forwards when I worked in because I was like, you know what? You're not getting bullied into it. I understand. Good for you.
I have never been a part of one. I have never had that situation come up for me,
It does
actually.
feel good.
Can I circle back
It'll
to
make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
It does,
Do it.
yeah.
Okay, I'll do
Can I
it.
circle back to my sick of it? John Fitzgerald. John
sure.
Fitzgerald on the YouTube line.
Jeremy Rutherford
Yeah.
coming up.
Randy,
Oh,
in
one
the,
hand.
in the NFL, that would be known as a handoff.
Oh.
Thank you, John.
By the way,
Well done. You get the
quick
show.
thing. If you do get caught in a pay it forward line, you can ask like, okay, what is the person behind me total, right? You can
I
be
think that-
reasonable
You
about
can.
that, right?
Yep.
Because it should all be, I would think, kind of similar.
Yes, okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's a big group of people or they're ordering for the office, then that's a bad situation for you to be in.
Yeah.
I think a pro athlete should do it all the time.
I agree.
If they make a lot of money.
Mahomes does. Warner does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do. I agree.
That made me think of one. Sick of it when people run into pro athletes out in public and then buy them a drink.
So I did that for Keith Kachuk, and we were on the road. I was doing the blues many years ago, and Keith was at a restaurant with Doug Waite, and I'm
Think about it.
having dinner with somebody from the traveling party. I don't know who it was, and I sent over a couple beers to him or whatever. I said, whatever it was. He came over after they were done, put his big meat hook on my shoulder and said, if you ever do that again, we're going to have real problems. Yep. He said, do you know how much they pay me? That was Keith Kachuk.
I love that.
It was awesome.
Oh, man. I'm sick of Alec Burleson not being the new cleanup guy.
He might be.
Yeah.
If you look at the OPSs up and down this lineup, he has a 761 OPS. He's hitting close to 300. I think if you're Ali at this point, and he kind of did this on the road trip, he's shuffling the lineup just to try to find anything that clicks. So he'd definitely be in my top 5 right now.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. One more?
You're going to activate Brooke on this one. I'm sick of all the construction in the Central West End. 10 years I've been working there, and it's always under construction. It also happens to be one of the best areas of the city. I wonder if those things are connected.
I love Central West End. Now, I do get it because there always is construction, and it can be a lot to deal with. But at the same time, it is a really pretty area. I love the Central West End.
Is the Ballas extension here one of the best areas of the city? Because there seems to be a significant amount of construction there, too.
That's a more reasonable complaint. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what is going on there?
It's unbelievable.
I guess
Congratulations.
it's booming.
Yeah, to the people who build roads. I mean, we need the infrastructure, but holy smokes.
What do you guys feel about the Pineapple building in the Central West
I
End?
like it.
Yeah.
I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, I think
is.
it's great. That's where I think when Albert's year back, he lived. I think Bader didn't Bader live there? There was a little baseball, kind of a baseball centric building. The Pineapple building is beautiful. I
They
like
all
it.
lived in a pineapple under the sea. I just want to do. Maybe
Lives
I was
in a pineapple.
maybe I was trying to activate Rocky on that one. Oh, but no, I got Randy. SpongeBob SquarePants.
I wasn't really a SpongeBob kid.
Oh God!
I didn't get cable till I was like 13.
I was a man in a SpongeBob.
So I didn't watch
guy.
a lot of I didn't watch a lot of Nickelodeon until I was like 13. And
Oh my
it kind of passed me by.
Here's
a
what
little
drew
bit.
me in, and it
More of a
this is-
Rugrats guy.
How can you hear? How can you not hear all the NFL films music that they use and not love SpongeBob?
I met the voice of Patrick.
Oh, did you?
He is a Cardinal fan.
Are you serious?
And I want to say he's from St. Louis, but moved to L.A. He's a voice guy, maybe a little acting, but one day he came in the booth and said, I'd like to meet you. And I said, no problem. And he said what he did. I said, I wish I would have met you and said that first. You mean more to me than I mean to you.
Did you have him do the voice?
I
Please
did.
tell me you did.
Oh, yeah, he did it. It was
That's
awesome.
fantastic.
And he signed little things to my kids. And he actually brought in like 8x10s of Patrick and signed them.
That's fantastic.
It was pretty cool.
Thank you,
I love
Matthew.
that.
And thank you, texters. We do appreciate it. So we'll be back to texting a little bit later in the hour with Tioli. But coming up next, our buddy Greg Amsinger of MLB Network. We're going to ask if he's a SpongeBob fan. Coming your way here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals failed to complete the sweep, and they fall to the Angels 7-2, doomed early. Lance Lynn gives up 4 earned runs in the first before he settles into 5 innings pitched. Cardinals are off today. They'll be back in action starting a 3-game series hosting the Boston Red Sox. 7:15 first pitch on Friday. We'll be talking to Cardinals starting pitcher Kyle Gibson coming up at 9:15 later on the show. Coming up right now, Greg Amsinger from MLB Network joins the show, and at 8:15, Jeremy Rutherford joins the show to talk about the Stanley Cup. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Brooke, Dan, and Randy, it's the opening drive, 101 ESPN. The great Greg Amsinger joins us on the Celebrity Line. Of course, Greg is a native of St. Louis. He is a product of the Lindenwood University. He is the lead anchor for MLB Network. But the most important thing we need to know from Greg this morning is he a fan of SpongeBob SquarePants, the adult cartoon, which some kids can watch too? Greg, good morning. How you doing?
I'm great. The answer is no.
Oh, no.
Here's the issue, okay? The audio, there's too much screeching and screaming. It's why I hate TikTok. You sit next to somebody on TikTok, and they're flipping through, and the audio change is like, it gets me going. I don't know if it's like causing like awful childhood memories of getting yelled at. I don't know, but I never liked SpongeBob. I just thought it was the audio of it was just too abrasive.
Interesting. One of the things I really like about SpongeBob SquarePants, Greg, is that they regularly use NFL Films music, and the people who write it clearly are sports fans. And even though the kids don't get it, the adults get the humor.
Wow. You could tell they were using NFL Films music?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Well, hell, I've had the NFL Films album for years, so you know, I listen to it in my car, Greg.
Dad, do we have to listen to this again? Are we there yet? I can imagine.
Exactly. Hey, let's start with this. The Red Sox come into town tomorrow to open a 3-game series against the Cardinals. And the Red Sox have a surprisingly solid starting pitching rotation, don't they?
You know, they're doing something that we never thought would be the case. They've bailed on a four-seam fastball, something that would ride up in the zone. They don't do it. They don't throw it. They're throwing the least amount of any team in Major League Baseball right now. And I asked all of our pitching gurus, is this sustainable? Can you believe in the Red Sox starting pitching, a team that going into the regular season, we're like, what are they doing? They let Chris Sale go. This makes no sense. A trade for a position player when it seemed like they had enough position players and Vaughn Grissom, they're not going to win. Their starting rotation is not deep. The fact that they have Andrew Bailey, who's this czar of pitching, their new pitching coach, has really given a brand new approach to beating other teams with a rotation that does not have velocity. And all of these guys are spinning it. If it's a fastball, it's a sinker, or it's a cutter. Everything has movement. They're not doing anything straight. I don't know if it can last the test of time. It seems like pitchers aren't exactly built with armor, so they can like come and go in terms of health. And to do that and expect that to work for 162 is a tall order. But at the moment, it's a new approach to pitching, and it seems to be working right now.
Greg, it will be a very tough homestand for the Cardinals, and obviously finishing up on the road. They were able to string together some wins, but of course last night they were not able to complete the sweep against the Angels, a team that's not very good whatsoever. What is your feeling right now about the state of the Cardinals? Has it changed in any way during the course of this road trip for them?
Well, it changed from the beginning of the year. I mean, I'm massively disappointed with what I'm seeing there. Massively disappointed. I do like the way things have come together in the last, I don't know, since Ali Marmol got thrown out of that game. It's probably when things started to turn around. The Cardinals need to get a lot of fight in them. They need to do what we've been saying forever, which is try to manufacture runs. It still looks like a team that's standing around waiting for a homer. I will say this. I was in our MLB Network studios, and we have access to ballpark cameras all over every ballpark in the game. And we watched batting practice. which isn't televised, which I think you could, if you had an app where you could like provide batting practice of your favorite players and people would pay for it. I think it'd be, how many Yankee fans would watch Aaron Judge take PP every day? I think they would. Anyway, it was me and Yonder Alonso sitting there watching Nolan Arenado take batting practice in California, in Anaheim. And we both got excited watching him launch baseballs. Launch. His swing looked like Colorado Rockies, Nolan Arenado. And Yonder Alonso texted him and was like, hey, man, great PP. And Nolan must have gone back into the clubhouse, grabbed his phone, was like, oh, my gosh, I figured something out. And then that night he hit a home run. His batting practice has looked amazing ever since. So if you're looking at players who are, like, coming out of it, Alex Bregman's a great example of that with the Houston Astros. Expect Nolan Arenado to get on a tear because guys it's a feel thing. It is. And when you lose it, some guys are lost. It looks like Nolan Arenado is releasing the barrel in a way that he hasn't done in years, and that's exciting for the Cardinals.
Greg, what are the guys on the set just saying about the start of the Cardinals? Just generally, what do they think about what's happening?
They think they're the most disappointing team in baseball. I have this conversation on a nightly basis, Dan. They are bummed out. Harold Reynolds is really down on him. He can't stand the way the young players have been discarded back to the minor leagues. Doesn't like their style of baseball. Many of our guys don't like the approach to signing the veteran players to go into the rotation as a quick fix when they don't think that there's ammunition coming down the farm system to help out either. They just don't like the direction of the team. I'm not as doom and gloom as they are. But they blame my bias because I'm from St. Louis on that. I don't blame that. I look at the rosters, I look at the young players, I look at track record, and I like what I see more than what I see in Pittsburgh. I like what I see more than what I see even in Cincinnati. To me, is more disappointing. But I still think the Cardinals are a winning team. I think that they're going to be over 500. People roll their eyes at me when I say that. But it hasn't happened yet. So I'm in the camp of being massively disappointed, but not and nowhere near as disappointed and as grumpy about the Cardinals as my cohorts. I mean, Chris Young, the former Diamondback outfielder, he thinks they're one of the worst teams in baseball. Like he says all the time, I'd rather watch the Oakland A's play than the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm not at that level, but obviously very disappointing.
Greg, the Cardinals about to start a 10-day, 9-game homestand with the Red Sox, Orioles, and Cubs. And the last game of this homestand, maybe I should save this for you for next Thursday, but I'm going to ask you now because it's timely. Last game of the homestand, last game of the series, Sonny Gray against the Cubs' Javier Assad. Tell me what I need to know about Javier Assad.
You're not knowing enough because no one's talking about it. It's amazing. This kid doesn't throw hard, isn't a chiseled specimen on the mound, has been yanked back and forth from the rotation to the bullpen. They never really knew how to use him. And now you can't take him out of the rotation. He's a godsend. I mean, no one thought the Cubs rotation would be developing the way it's developed with Imanaga as the front runner for the Cy Young right now. The Cubs pitching, starting pitching, has been a strength. Now, what I'll say is this. With him in the rotation, it has affected their bullpen. And remember, that is what Craig Counsell was a mastermind of. So he got rid of David Ross. He couldn't manage a bullpen, right? Well, right now, the Cubs bullpen, I think, is 26th or 27th in Major League Baseball. And losing a kid like him that can put out a fire for multiple innings, which is what he was doing last year, and in bits and pieces was a spot starter as well. But he was an asset to their bullpen. Having him in the rotation is great, but the Cubs bullpen is not what Craig Counsell was enjoying during his days in Milwaukee. So they got to figure that out if they think they're going to win a division and make any kind of mess in October, because the big three just continue to separate themselves. The Dodgers, the Braves, and the Phillies. And I went to a baseball game last night. Can you believe that? I actually went to a baseball game. Was in Philly, watched the Mets get blown out by the Phillies in the rain. Yeah, I messed my hair up. And I got to tell you, the Philadelphia Phillies are just better than everyone else. This idea that the Dodgers are the super team, nah. It's the Philadelphia Phillies. They are ready to win a world championship this year. They were my pick to win last year, 31-13, and it looks like every team they play is JV and they're varsity. So get ready. The Phillies are going to be a team we're talking about a lot.
I got to counter that, though, Greg, just for a moment. The last team that they played that was above 500 was their first series, and every other series has been against a team under 500. So
I know. But the problem is the entire National League's under 500.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the problem.
There are only a handful of teams that are over 500. It's crazy. They're just really good. I mean, it's top to bottom, the entire lineup. Brandon March, Alec Boehm has become a superstar over at third base. I watched Ranger Suarez pitch in the rain, and he was just under control, not overthrowing. He's been one of the best pitchers. Aaron Nole's last start was untouchable. I mean, these guys are so many familiar names. I love teams that believe in continuity. And the Philadelphia Phillies have won with this entire group before, not a world championship, but all they've been doing is winning. And now here we are. It looks like this is their time. They didn't make any drastic changes. It's the same group. Go get them. And Trey Turner's not even playing right now. Bryson Stott's on pace for 98 RBIs. Like, everything is coming together for the Philadelphia Phillies. And if that bullpen stays the way it is, I don't see a team beating them in the National League.
I tried to get one by you, Greg. Every team in the National League is just struggling right now, it seems like.
Yep.
It's a down year in the NL. It's weird.
All right, Greg, now to the important stuff. Our Arizona Cardinals schedule came out last night. Did you look at it right away?
Yes, I did. And I immediately circled what dates I could go and make a 4-day golf trip. My son and I were looking at it like I was hotcakes, fresh off the presses. And here's the deal. We have to find what dates we can start selling my wife on that we need to go watch our favorite NFL team, which we just adopted again. And we need to go watch Kyler Murray throw a couple picks. And please let us go so we can play golf in Arizona. So, yes, we looked at the schedule. Which dates are you circling, Randy?
I've got a couple. I've got the September 29th game against the Commanders, and then the team that you have decided to love to hate, your former team, the Jets, on November 10th.
I know, yes. That's a good one. November 10th is going to be a tough one for me. I already have a commitment. It's right after, essentially, the World Series would end. I already knew that was going to be a no-go at Wifey. Okay. So I kind of X'd that one out. And I don't want to watch Aaron Rodgers play, even if I'm rooting against him.
Okay.
So I'm kind of out on that one.
How about Seahawks December 8th?
Ooh, now that's the sweet spot, right? Like that's when's the winter meetings? See, I got so many conflicts, right? I think winter meetings runs in that time.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
It's hard to be my friend, Randy. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. You're one of the most likable people in the world. You're the best.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, always good to hear your voice. We'll be tuned into MLB tonight, and we'll be watching MLB Network. A lot of cool stuff going on. It's a great time of the baseball season, even with the Cardinals struggling. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah. All right, take care, guys. See ya.
Brother. That's Greg Amsinger, MLB Network, and a fellow Arizona Cardinals fan with us on 101 ESPN.
Fellow Arizona Cardinals
We decided to readopt. That's because Dan, you're the same way, right? Those childhood memories of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Miss it.
Yeah.
I missed actually that more than I did the Rams.
I think most people do. It's amazing in this town.
Yeah.
Even though the Rams won a Super Bowl here, I think the fonder memories are definitely for the Cardinals than the Rams.
For me, they are, and it's just because of and my father has been deceased for a long, long time, but it made me think of him because we'd go down to those games and it seemed like the Old Busch Stadium, it'd be freezing and windy, and we'd stay in there until that final whistle was blown and they had lost more times than not.
Yep.
But still, it was a time with my dad, and I loved that.
It was awesome. Yeah, you know, the other thing that has become interesting for me as I put together my fall football schedule is Mizzou's going to take precedence. Mizzou games are going to take precedence over Arizona Cardinal games.
Which is nice. It's nice to have that change.
Have that accessible for us. Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Tioli next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Danny Mac on this Thursday morning. I want to tell you about Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, or if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things, let me make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. He will help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table fast. Try 10 days, and he'll get you the best interest rate possible. And he also has the bagel loan. That can help you out, too. So you're asking, what is the bagel loan? You hear it all the time here on 101 ESPN. Here it is. If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewart is your guy. He makes it so easy for you. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewart a call, and you can call him directly on his personal cell phone at 314-324-4440. Again, that's 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, kids. Dateline Alicante, Spain. A 50-year-old Lithuanian man living in Spain has been arrested for faking heart attacks in over 20 fine dining restaurants to avoid paying the bills. He would order a nice meal. He would, at the end of the meal, maybe have a drink, clench his chest. The ambulance would be called, and he would be wheeled out on a stretcher without paying the bill. Take it or leave it. On some level, you kind of admire it.
I'm going to leave that. That feels criminal, Randy. Also, I'm gonna have another one here. Take it or leave it. Randy is reading too much of the dailymail.com.
100%.
Because that's where you're getting these stories from, aren't you?
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
I knew it.
You're
They always have the
TMZ
weird
guy,
ones.
too, I bet he is.
TMZ, yeah.
Yeah.
TMZ, where people lose their hands.
Terrible. Go ahead, Brooke.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave that one, Randy. Where are you finding all these stories?
It's pretty amazing. I love it.
I think that's illegal.
It's a little bit different from TMZ, which is usually where people lose their jobs.
Yeah, that's true. He has been arrested. And they don't know. People are, I guess the authorities are embarrassed because he's done it so many times and they didn't really catch on to it. But he had 20 different heart attacks to try to get free meals.
It is kind of smart, I guess, in a weird kind of way.
Well, eventually it catches up with you.
Aren't you a little upset, though, Randy, with a guy that's you've talked about it publicly, he had a heart issue at one point. Yep. Doesn't that frustrate? I mean, you could go in because you're well known and do this right here in St. Louis. Say,
you could do it once. Right?
Do it like Tony's or something.
Oh, yeah, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's going to do it big. What restaurant would you do it big at?
Oh, I wouldn't do it to Paul Mano. He's our buddy. I'd probably do it to a national chain like Fleming's or something. Get ready, folks.
Get ready. They're going to put your picture on the wall and say, don't let this man in. Take it or leave it. Did you guys happen to see, so before I say this, did you see the schedule release videos that each team did on social media? I always enjoy seeing those every year now. The Titans won, basically, in my mind, last year. This year, though, take it or leave it, the Chargers had the best release video.
I must defer because I didn't get to see the Chargers.
It was
one.
the Sims. So Dan, did you see it? It was the Sims one, and they had a lot of great references. They did the Kelsey brothers. They also did some other things. They also, at the end, Harrison Butker was in the kitchen cooking. Which, we don't have time to dive into that story, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding Harrison Butker currently with some of his recent comments. And they in the video they have at the end him in the kitchen.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was good. I thought they had the best video, and also any reference towards the Sims is 10 out of 10 for me.
They threw a little shade at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Or a lot, if you want to say.
A lot.
Yeah, I thought it was
there's
good.
Taylor Swift in there.
It's all right.
I like it.
So take it or leave it. The Dodgers have given up 4 runs or fewer, looking at this, in their past 22 games straight. Last time that happened, and it's rare that it happened, was in 2017. If this keeps up, the Dodgers, and they're going to get healthier, will win 116 games and match the Seattle Mariners of 2001.
Ooh, that's a good one, Dan. You know what? I think I have to do that. I have to
I'm
take
gonna take it.
Because, as we've mentioned, they don't even have their pitching staff.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's only going to get better.
29 and 16, they're going to get better. They just need to keep hitters healthy. And even, like, they can afford to lose Ohtani, too, a bad back for a while. How long has he had that?
Oh, God.
Dan,
About a week back.
They can afford to lose him for about a week. And you still have...
For about a week.
Yeah. You still have Betts, Freeman, Will Smith... Teoscar Hernandez is having an unbelievable season. They just have so many. Max Muncy is still a threat every time he steps to the plate. You know, how many teams, think about this, could afford to lose a guy like Corey Seager and not really miss a beat?
None.
Yeah.
Except them.
Right.
None. I don't think you can miss a guy like that who's an MVP candidate, who wins an MVP in the postseason. I don't know any other teams that could take that kind of hit. Maybe the Phillies. Maybe the Yankees.
But they're just in a different league of their own.
Yes.
And that's why it feels like World Series or bust with this Dodgers team.
It sure does. All right, Matthew, what do you got on the text line?
Take it or leave it. Goldie has an OPS over 800 by the All-Star break.
No, I'm going to leave that.
Well, what is he at currently right now?
God, he's got 2 months. That's a long time. But is he at 600 yet?
He is currently at 591.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave
He'd
that.
have to really go on a run.
Here's one thing to look at when it comes to Goldie's stats that is legitimately nice. His on-base percentage is 90 points higher than his batting average right now. So he's got a 206 batting average, but he's got a 291 OPS or on-base percentage. Just to like flip it around, Alec Burleson is 25 points higher in OBP than he is batting average. It's stark when you look at a guy like Goldie. 90 points higher is pretty impressive there.
I think Burleson has a 7. I was looking at this yesterday. 760, right around there.
761.
Yeah, 761 OPS.
But he's got like he's got a 290 batting average and a 315 OBP.
Yeah.
If somebody tells you on opening day that Goldie has a 591 and Arenado has a 683, do you think the Cardinals are within 10 games of 500?
No.
And that tells you in a nutshell what the offense is supposed to do, which they had some signs of that here in the last 3 games, really last 4. It was predicated, and it is predicated on the big guys hitting. And if they don't hit, you're going to be in trouble. that's the interesting part of this is if these guys just don't hit, they just don't advance. They don't win games.
And guys, with Contreras out, Burleson, Herrera, and Wynn are your top 3 OPS guys. Burleson, Herrera, and Wynn, all players in their first or second year.
If you would have said that at the beginning of the year, what would have been your reaction?
I said they'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
So top 3 OPS guys.
Take it or leave it. Your over/under for Tyler O'Neill home runs this series is 2.5.
I'm going to go over. I'm going to say he hits 3.
I think over. I feel it coming.
What kind of ovation is he going to get?
A big one.
I think he's going to get a big one. I think fans, especially him leaving and the way that everything went down, I think a lot of fans will give him an ovation.
The one thing about Goldie, too, going back to him, is that his home run and some of his swings, at least some of the power that he's getting, are hitting to the opposite way. And when he hits, like last night was to right center, when he starts to do that, that tells me he is trusting it, letting the ball get deeper, and trusting his hands. And you may see him go on a tear. You know, this is normally when he does, and it hasn't been slow starts like this. It's been historically slow starts, but that tells me that probably he has turned the corner a little bit here.
I would say so. By the way, Tyler O'Neill's last home run, as we look at it, was scrolling. Oh, no, he hit one on May 13th on Monday, so he's fine.
So
how many is he up to now? 10?
He's only got 1 this month, though. He's got 10, but only 1 this month. And before he hit the one on Monday night, the last time he had hit one was April 27th.
Well, he's probably going to add to that this weekend.
Yeah, probably.
Take it or leave it. If you had the chance, you would go to Pamplona and run with Pamplona. Excuse me, I can't get it out. Pamplona and run with the Bulls.
I'm going to leave that.
I'm going to leave that. That is very interesting. I would be very afraid of it now to check it off your bucket list. Cool, but then are you going to be able to accomplish the rest of the bucket list?
I don't think I think I would be in last place among the runners. I think I'm the one who gets sgored.
I was going to say that means you're first place in other things.
Yeah.
So do you want to ride bulls, or do you want to get trampled by one?
I don't want to be around them. I'm fine.
Me neither. I'm going to leave it.
So back in the day, the Blues used to ask their players what they did during the off season, and there would be a little anecdote. And Brendan Shanahan one year said, I went to Pamplona and ran with the Bulls. He never did, but we thought that he did all this exotic stuff, and he was just making it up for the media guide.
Some of those are hilarious, what guys put in there. Yeah. Really funny stuff.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up at the moment, should Mason Wynn and Alec Burleson be in the top 5 in the Cardinal lineup? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. One, because it really helps me get back to my goals that I had for this year, which is to get into better shape. I work out with Christine twice a week, and she's really pushed me right before this wedding day, and I love the results I'm seeing. And also, too, because I'm getting back into the sport that I love, and that is playing tennis. I actually went and hit with Scott yesterday, and that was such a great workout. It was so much fun, and that's why I love my MAC.
Fresh perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke, Dan, Matthew, and Randy. And
hold on, Randy. Are you hungry or
here's
what?
The thing: if I have a protein shake like I did for breakfast, I feel like I need something substantial in my stomach to settle my stomach. Otherwise, my stomach has a tendency to growl.
That was so... I don't know if I've heard a stomach be that loud.
Oh, my God.
I actually thought you burped.
I thought it was a burp, too. And now I'm crying laughing because it was so funny. It was during my... I wonder if anybody could hear that during my live read.
I could feel it rumbling. And so I'm trying to hold my breath in and stuff, and then all of a sudden just...
No, sadly you can't hear it.
Yeah, Brooke's mic didn't pick it up. If Randy's mic had been on, it would have.
Well, I heard it.
My bad.
I did too.
So, rumble. So.
I know what you're talking about, though. That's why I have to have my Belvita breakfast bars.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
a good idea.
This is something that actually holds me over. I'll need another snack after the show, but this keeps my stomach from growling, because if I don't have something like this, then my stomach will start growling.
Okay, so I feel like I have a good excuse now. Okay, good.
You got grapes 25 minutes away.
Yep, grapes are 25 minutes away. Yeah. Hey, last night the Cardinal lineup had Alec Burleson hitting fifth. It was Carpenter, Nootbaar, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Burleson, Herrera, and then Donovan, Wynn, and Ciani. We saw Mason Wynn lead off the other night. Then he does have a 346 on base, which among the players that played last night was the highest on the team. Does it make sense at this stage? We're more than a quarter of the way into the season. And yes, Mason Wynn has declined a little bit offensively, but he's still pretty strong. Does it make sense to you guys to have both Wynn and Burleson in the top five every single game? Maybe that's where you start your lineup, is you have Wynn at the top and Burleson hitting either third or fifth. Does that make sense to you guys?
I think it makes a lot of sense, because at this point you just need something to work for this team offensively. And also you're struggling with runners in scoring position, which is something that we talked about earlier. They're 199. They're hitting 191, right now with RISP. And we saw last night 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You have to be able to do something. And I think Mason Wynn, that's why he works as your leadoff guy. So I like both of those guys.
I'd shake it up. I'd mix and match as I'm going along here. The first spot in the lineup, the average is 200. The on-base percentage, which really concerns me, is 278. So I don't mind Carpenter at times at the top. If Wynn, and it's not maybe they don't think it's a good matchup, and you put the veteran in there. I never thought when they signed Matt Carpenter, and we're here on May 16th, I never thought we'd be talking about him being a factor at the top of the lineup. I thought he might be a good pinch hitter and help these young guys, but he may be a factor before it's all said and done. So I don't mind Carpenter at the top because of the way things have gone. 1 through 5 in the lineup. The highest OPS is 733. So going back to Burleson, who has a 761 OPS, why not give him a run a little bit closer towards the middle of the lineup and let him try to do some damage? So it does make some sense.
By the way, with Burleson, 7 extra base hits and an 829 OPS so far in May. 16 days.
Yeah, he's starting to get hot. And that's what I mean. I think you got to mix and match a little bit. And when you're at this point in the season, you got to ride some hot hands. Mm-hmm. If that means it's Mason Wynn, which I don't, going into the season, I didn't think it was ideal. I kept saying I liked him at the bottom of the lineup, put less pressure on him, but at some point you take off the training wheels and you graduate to MLB and let it rip.
And one thing about Wynn, the overall numbers are good, but he, as opposed to Burleson, has descended a little bit in May, hitting only .238 in 44 plate appearances with a .286 or a .273 on base. And the key for him is going to be getting on base. He hasn't been as effective in the first half of this month at doing that.
And the amazing thing is that he still leads the team in average and on-base percentage.
Right. Yep.
With the downfall that he's had a little bit here, that stretch of games hasn't been great, but still leads in average and on-base percentage. And I think, Randy, that's in Brooke. That's why you maybe look at him as being your leadoff man.
And with Alec Burleson, you needed somebody to step up. We knew how big of a loss it was to lose Wilson Contreras for many different reasons, but he's really the only one who was consistently doing anything at the plate. So you needed somebody to step up at this moment. Now, I would rather it be Paul Goldschmidt. Now, Paul Goldschmidt, he is starting to trend in a little bit of a better direction, but it has been such a slow start for him that's still quite the climb for him. But Alec Burleson being able to step in this moment where you need somebody to provide some sort of offense, that's what you needed after losing Wilson Contreras.
I think Burleson can flat out hit.
Yeah.
I just, the at-bats that he takes, the potential power that he provides. This guy hit .331 in the minors for AAA for a significant portion of the season. And I don't care if the disparity and the gap between MLB and AAA is a lot, which by all accounts it is. But still, you hit .331 playing professional baseball, you're doing something right.
I, at one point, was convinced that it didn't matter that Brendan Donovan was going to be great at the top of the lineup. Had that .394 on base a couple of years ago. And that was one thing that he always did, was get on base. And now, not only are his overall averages not great, and he did have a couple of hits last night, so let's point that out, but he has been consistent in that in April, he hit .228 with a .311 on base. In May, he's hit .225 with a .309. He's been the same player all year long offensively. And I hope that this is not what he is. I hope we go back to what he was in his first 2 years in the majors. Burleson, or Donovan, I'm talking about, Brendan Donovan.
And you have Walker in the minor leagues. Yeah. You've had a little bit regression with some of the younger players, so that is of concern right now for the Cardinals. And, we talked about the offense really as Goldie and Arenado go. You also needed the young players to take another step forward. In some ways, they have not.
What about Nolan Gorman? Do you have any concerns about him right now?
I've always thought that Gorman was going to be like a number 6 type hitter. I thought he'd hit a bunch of home runs with a low on base and a low batting average, and I still think he's going to be that guy. I still think he's going to hit for power, but I don't consider him a middle of the lineup guy. I consider him a 6 or 7 hitter.
Right now, to me, strikeouts, which you knew you were going to get your handful of strikeouts, but he's striking out at about a 36% clip, which, man, that's a lot. I'd look at Burleson hitting second, too, by the way, in the lineup. I'd take, again, I'm shaking it up. I'm looking at all possibilities. And if he gets hot, put him closer to the top. Let him do some damage in the 2-hole, especially if Goldie starts to hit. He may get more pitches to hit. Those are some things to look at.
I wish that, going back to Nolan Gorman, I wish the pitch recognition was better. I considered him a poor man's Kyle Schwarber. And I don't know if he's going to get there now. And did I think he was going to have a 400 on base and 48 home runs? No. But I said a poor man. So 35 home runs with a 350 on base, that's what I would like to see out of Nolan Gorman.
What do you think, though, if he played every day? And, would you get to those marks? That's the one thing I would look at. That means playing every day against lefties, righties. Sometimes you're going to have to ride out the strikeouts, and there may be a bunch in a series. He could strike out 6 to 8 times.
Yeah.
But you just live with it and say, you know what, we're going to go for it because he's going to walk into some home runs before it's all said and done.
Last year, Schwarber, 197 batting average, led the league with 215 strikeouts, but 47 home runs and a 343 on base. If I could get something smaller than that, but similar percentage-wise to Gorman, I'd take it.
Yeah, just ride it out.
Yeah, and you get a 343 on base, all of a sudden you can legitimately have him lead off.
Greg had an interesting point about the four-seam fastball, and if they're throwing a lot of two-seamers this weekend, talking about the Boston Red Sox, then I think you see a lot of Gorman. Because he's susceptible to a four-seamer that's up in the zone. So something to look, think about that maybe happens this weekend if you see him playing a lot. Just something to think about.
That's Dan, that's Brooke, I'm Randy, and that's today's Fresh Take here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to talk some Blues hockey with our buddy, our Blues insider from The Athletic, the one, the only Jeremy Rutherford is next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. The Cardinals were unable to finish the sweep, falling to the Angels 7-2 last night. The Angels building up an early lead off a rough first inning for Lance Lynn. Lynn allowing a leadoff homer in what became a 4-run first inning. He did settle in a little bit after that, working out of trouble in the third and fifth innings. Lynn finished allowing 4 runs off 8 hits while walking 2 and striking out 5 in 5 innings. Paul Goldschmidt with a solo home run and Brendan Donovan drove in a run for the Cardinals. The Cardinals with the day off today before starting a 9-game homestand, starting with the Red Sox on Friday.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
If selling your home is in your future, then you need to call Gloria Lou from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's number is 314-325-6888, or you can find her on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Why should you call Gloria Lou? Well, it's easy, because her name and her promise says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's mastered the home selling promise, and she has solutions for you. If you want a fast sale with no hassles, well, Gloria's got a 24-hour cash offer solution that's a great option to consider. You don't have to show the house. There are no costly repairs to pay for, and you pick the closing date, and you always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers and what she calls her cash offer bid box. It really is amazing. She's got people that want to buy a home like yours in your neighborhood and in your price range, and she's been collecting these names of people interested in homes for over 20 years. So she's going to get it done. And if you need to sell your home, Gloria's going to sell it at the price you want to sell it for. Give her a call, Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888, or visit her website, gloriahasthebuyers.com. By Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor. Our Blues insider from The Athletic. Jeremy Rutherford is with us in studio here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. He wants to beat the traffic. He's got more important things to do, and so he wants to beat the traffic. So he's here with us now. Thank you, sir. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, no problem. And also, I got to correct something I said a couple days ago with BK and Ferrari. Just a word slippage, right? You guys have ever had that happen to you on the air?
No. Just make sure it's the right words and not the bad words.
You're right about that. Well, you do this 5 days a week. You do these hits, and I was giving a shout out to George, a guy who came out to the house and did an appraisal at the house, and I said that he was a vivid listener. And you hang up after the hit, and you just, what in the heck was I trying to say? Well, it was about 8 hours later. I told the story to a friend of mine. He said, "You were trying to say he's an avid listener." And I go, "Oh, bingo, that's it. Thank you." So, again, don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but...
Did he wear colorful stuff?
Yeah, I was going to say. I was trying to justify it. I'm sure you do that, too. Trying to justify it in my head. Yeah. No, he was a vivid listener, right?
Did George give you a good deal on whatever you're doing here? I mean, you're throwing out a lot of shout-outs to him.
He listens to the station all the time, and he did text later and say his friends, family, everybody heard it, and they were excited. So it reminds me of the time when I pulled into a Quick Trip, and I told you, Randy, that I was doing the hit from a Quick Trip parking lot, and you said, "Anybody out there, let's hear the horn, honk a horn." And it was 2 minutes later, a guy drove by in a diesel and honked the horn. I
love it. Okay, so you did your Blues fan survey, and I don't believe the Blues fans here all the time.
I know where you're going.
Would you continue to buy tickets if the Blues went into a full rebuild and were guaranteed to miss the playoffs for 5 or more seasons? 58.1% of the people said yes, they would continue to buy tickets. Only 41.9% said no. Were these people around in 2006?
I don't know. And I'm kind of, there's a comment section at the bottom of the article, and somebody already said, "I'm calling BS on this." Somebody said I was around 2006, and these people say they're going to pay for the tickets, but then when push comes to shove, they probably won't. I do remember that's when I took over covering the Blues for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch was 05-06, and Eric Johnson, that got some excitement going. Perron, Berglund, Oshie, those guys, but I do remember a lot of people dressed up like empty seats.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So
a lot of folks disguised as empty seats.
Yeah. Come grow with us.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. Well, Craig Berube is now seemingly the hot candidate for all the opening head coaching jobs. So where do you think he's going to land? What are you hearing about all of the different interviews?
He is. And he was in Toronto this past weekend and talked to the Maple Leafs, I believe, for a couple days. I know he's talked to New Jersey. And then most recently, I think it's been reported that he was talking to Winnipeg. What do you guys feel about Craig Berube behind that Winnipeg bench? It's one thing when it's in the East, right? And it's Toronto, New Jersey. But what about Winnipeg?
I'm intrigued. I don't want to play against them, but I'm intrigued. I think he could do a good job there.
Yeah, and we've been saying for a few weeks that, when I think of Craig Berube and I see him, I think of this blue-collar, hardworking mentality, and that's what I think about when I look at the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah. And they've got that type of roster, too. I think he'd do really well there. But I will say that how the sausage is made here, I've already started on an article about him taking over the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's kind of sitting in the computer there. So if it happens, it would help me out because I've already done some work on it.
And I don't know what he's looking for. He's got a Stanley Cup ring, right? He might want to be the guy that gets Toronto their first cup since 1967. I don't know. But if you're looking at the 3 jobs and you want to win the way he's won, Winnipeg has a big defense and they have a great goalie. And that's the way he won here.
Yeah, and I think he could be really successful in Winnipeg. If you look at the Toronto situation, obviously tons of money. They're going to do whatever they can do to put the winning team on the ice, which is a great situation for him. And I think also the Maple Leafs now, after getting knocked out of the playoffs for several years in a row now, they're in a position where, they need to change and go in a direction of what I think Craig Berube can help them do, and that's play with some grit. That's, bring in some bigger bodies. Let's play that style. So, they have a lot of skilled guys, and that's how the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win. They have to. They're paying those guys big bucks. But I think it's a situation where Craig could say, hey, look, this is what you guys need, and the GM, Brad Treveling, would have to go out and get that.
JR, when you're watching the playoffs and it's so intense and it's so fast, do you sit there and go, man, the Blues are really far away, or man, they're not too far away from what we're seeing here on the ice in the playoffs?
Yeah, I hate to use the term really far away because that makes it sound like it's 6 or 8 years, but I think that they're far away because they have some skill, they have some talent, they have some people who could be good in the playoffs. But when you watch a game like you saw last night between Dallas and Colorado, every shift is what we saw years ago with the Blues. I mean, it's big boy hockey, and I realize there's a lot of other elements involved. You know, you got McKinnon doing his thing last night again. But I think the Blues don't have the bottom six right now, I don't think, nor the second and third defensive pair who is going to go out there and wear you down like we saw last night with Dallas and Colorado. So therefore, I think they're years away until they can bring that type of player in.
I want to also ask you, because I don't know if there has been any new developments with this. Pavel Buchnevich, have you heard anything about Doug Armstrong approaching him with a contract extension yet?
No, only because it would have to be July 1st for it to be official. Now, you know, do those things happen behind the scenes? I suppose. But because he has one more year left on his contract, they can't officially begin negotiating until July 1st and announce a deal until July 1st. So it's got to be, when you sign a multi-year deal in the NHL with the collective bargaining agreement, you got to wait till that final year starts, which is July 1st. So at that point, I would think that we'd probably maybe not hear something, but we'd have some belief that they're trying to talk behind the scenes, because Doug Armstrong has said it. Pavel Buchnevich has said that, we're waiting to hear from Doug. So I think at that point we'll know something.
And you've talked to Buchnevich in his camp before about how they feel about Drew Bannister, how he feels about Drew Bannister. Do you think that his decision also is predicated on what move they made with the head coaching position? Yeah,
it's interesting. I think more so than who the coach is, it would come down to what Doug Armstrong said at the end of the season. He said, I'm sure that when I go to Pavel Buchnevich and talk to him about a contract extension, he's going to have some hard questions for me about where we are in terms of winning. And if Doug Armstrong's response is, hey, great question, I think we're in a situation where it's going to be 2-3 years, then, you know, Pavel Buchnevich is going to have to digest that and see where that decision leads him. So until they have those conversations, we won't know anything. But I think now that we see that Drew Bannister is the coach, we see that this is going to continue to be a retool for a couple more years. That's something that's going to have to weigh on Pavel Buchnevich.
How many guys hang around in the offseason?
Well, there's a few. I know we talk about that all the time with alumni.
Yeah.
Keeping their home here in St. Louis. I know Robert Thomas is here. He's a guy who spends a lot of time in St. Louis. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many stay beyond a few weeks or a month.
And I was asking that just because it seems like players are creatures of habit, and they take like maybe a week off, and then it's off ice training and on ice. I mean, they just don't stop.
Yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, I realize that's their job, and you got to stay in that kind of shape. But it is, yeah. I remember, you know, talking to guys like Alex Pietrangelo and even Matthew Tkachuk. Like, they'll come back from a vacation, and they will be back at the gym sometimes the night they come back from the vacation. And if it's not that night, it's the next morning. I mean, that's
these guys.
That's my excuse to say, like, okay, I could use another week. I was just, you know, down in Florida for whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I need another week. But yeah, no, I've heard stories from trainers that they will be back in the gym. They'll even call, say, hey, I got back on a Friday. I know we should probably wait till Monday, but can you open up on Saturday?
Wow. Wow.
Hey, JR, I have a question about a couple of your answers, the Buchnevich answer and then how long it's going to take. How much of what those answers are a product of the fact that the Blues are boxed in by previous contracts and the salary cap?
Yeah, I think that's definitely been weighing on this team for a couple of years now. You know, Doug has tried to get out of one of them, at least. We know with Torrey Krug, you know, how much of an effort is he trying to get out of one or two of them this offseason? We'll see. That's why, like, when people say, now you're getting to the point where Torrey Krug and Justin Falk have 3 years left on their deal, you might as well just ride it out, because the Blues aren't going to be a competitive team for the next couple of years. So don't buy them out, some fans are saying. Just get through this period. And these no-trade clauses turn to modified no-trade clauses in a year or so. And so people are saying, you know, don't do anything drastic. Just let these guys play. But my answer, Randy, is I don't think the Blues can move forward and get into that next phase fully until they're able to move some of these contracts.
And this is a conundrum, because if I'm another general manager, I'm not going to trade for the Krug and Falk contracts, right? At least at full price. If the Cardinals or the Blues were able to get Kevin Hayes at half price last year, that's about what he's worth. The market value for those two has, in my opinion, dropped precipitously, especially with Torrey Krug. So I can't imagine that the Blues would be able to get rid of $18 million on each of those contracts?
Yeah, so it is a conundrum for a couple reasons. Because one, if you do want to move him, and I call you and you're the GM of the other team, and just like you said, you don't want to do that deal, what do I got to do then? I got to add a sweetener. I got to say, hey, will you take a second-round pick too if you take Torrey Krug's contract or Justin Falk's contract? So I think that's a big issue there. And then, if you retain salary, people should know that you're not just doing it for next season. If you retain salary, you're doing it for the length of the contract.
Bingo.
Just like Philly's retaining Kevin Hayes' money for a couple years, 3 years left on that deal, same thing. So Krug and Falk, 3 years left. Let's say you retain 40%, what have you. You're doing it the next 3 seasons.
The people on the text line want you to know that Oscar Sundquist also stays in St. Louis.
Sundquist,
He was
that's
at
a
City
given,
SC
right?
last night.
Yeah, that's a given. That's a good one.
Sonny.
Yeah, he's got the girlfriend / fiance /
Future wifey.
Yeah, Blake. So she's in town. They're in town. They love it in St. Louis. That should be a gimme that Sonny stays here.
Who do you like right now in the playoffs?
Well, I continue to stick by Florida. I just think that, I realize that they've slipped up here a little bit against Boston. Boston's back in the series. It's 3-2, and now it's going back to Boston. But I just like the way Florida plays. You guys have talked about it all week. Matthew Tkachuk, what he brings to the table, and the goaltending has been really good. And the last thing is, when you go as far as you did last year, like they did, it hardens you. And I think that's who they are right now.
If Boston is knocked out in the second round, Jim Montgomery on the hot seat, you think? Or is he, because he got through the first round, everything's okay, and they've been great in the regular season?
Yeah, so if they got swept or lost 4-1, I think there's a really good chance. They're battling back in the series. But, Dan, I do think that there's some element of that. I think that it will be talked about. I think that, fans in Boston are they like Jim Montgomery. They know what he brings to the table, but they wonder. And so I think that will be a conversation, at least within the fan base. But I think at that point, I don't know if the Boston Bruins are interested in letting him go. And people should know he's got 1 year left on his contract.
JR, great stuff as always. Thanks for stopping by. And you got the podcast coming up?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we're going to do the podcast here in a little bit, and that should be up later today. And let me tell you, it is going to be a vivid podcast.
All right. Who's going to join you on that podcast?
That would be one Donnie Fandango and a Alex Ferrario, and we're going to talk about that blues survey, among other things. And I think we're in the YouTube room today, so there might be a video of these gorgeous faces.
Oh, love it. They are gorgeous.
Nice.
Have a great weekend, sir. Thank you.
You guys too. Thanks.
That's the one and only Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the fight. Matthew, you need a fighter today?
Yo.
Okay, if you want to fight, just... why are you laughing, Brooke?
Because the way that Rockio says it. Randy, and you know as well, we always need a new fighter.
I don't know.
You do.
I need to be reminded that I won yesterday.
Didn't you win 3-0?
I may have.
Jesus.
I may not. I don't know. You can text in with your name and the word fight to 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. And maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN.
You want to change up your daily fantasy game? Here's the best way to do it. You got to get in on the Pick'em game over at Underdog Fantasy Pick'em Champions. You just pick 2 to 5 players from at least 2 different teams, select higher or lower on the player stat projections. You can pick your entry fee. You're going to be entering the games alongside other underdogs. As long as you hit your entries, you're walking away with your winnings. Here's the thing right now in Underdog Fantasy. They're giving you a promo right now for Caitlin Clark's game tonight, higher than 0.5 points. I think she will hit a 3 to clear that pretty easily. On the other side, I'm going to go with some NBA games tonight. No Cardinals game. You could go with golf. It is a Thursday, so that starts. We're watching it right now in studio, so that can be where you add your entries. Me, I'm going with NBA basketball like I always do. I'm going to go lower than 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Anthony Edwards, and lower than 50.5 points for Nikola Jokic. He needs to get about 35 points to hit that 50. I don't know if he's going to get that tonight. I think later on in these playoff rounds, you get more defense, so I think it's going to be a lower scoring game in Minnesota. That's where we're going lower on both Anthony Edwards and Nikola Jokic. Again, there's a promo sitting in your lobby right now for Caitlin Clark, 0.5 points bonus. Grab that right now. It's super easy to play and even easier to get started on Underdog Fantasy. You can go to the easy-to-use mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code ROCC, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use in your first pick entry and a deposit offer. Right now, we're looking at 10x on our entry. You're going to add that mystery special pick. You're going to take it up even higher. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code ROCC to claim your new customer special of a mystery special pick and that deposit offer. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals fall last night to the Angels 7-2, failed to complete the sweep. They'll head back to St. Louis for a 3-game series facing off against the Boston Red Sox starting tomorrow night. Also last night, St. Louis City SC in action, and it was another L for your St. Louis squad as they fall to LAFC 2-0. That game starts off with a missed penalty from Joao Klaus, and then LAFC eventually takes over. And last night in the NHL playoffs, the Avalanche over the Stars 5-3 as they stave off elimination. Stars still lead that series 3-2. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Karraker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, and Rocky here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Anthony. Anthony, how are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Is this your first time facing Randy in the fight?
It's been a long time.
Well, just how long has it been?
Oh, probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, that's not that long. Randy's been doing this a long time, so you're fresh off that fight and ready to go for another. Are you ready to go today? Let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right, here's question 1 from Brooke.
Question 1, Anthony. Who was the St. Louis Rams' first ever draft pick? Was it Orlando Pace, Wayne Gandy, or Kevin Carter?
Kevin Carter.
Question 2. Following the Blues Cup runs to start their time as a franchise, they would go almost 20 years with only one appearance in the conference finals. That came in 1986 when they lost to which team in 7 games? Was it the Flames, the North Stars, or the Flyers?
North Stars.
All right, question 3.
Who is the only Cardinal to hit 10-plus multi-home run games in one season? Is it Mark McGwire, Sam Musial, or Albert Pujols?
Albert Pujols.
The all-time record for consecutive 100-yard rushing games is 14. Which Hall of Fame running back set that mark? Was it Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, or LaDainian Tomlinson?
LT.
All right, let me go get Randall.
How are you feeling,
Anthony? We got to ask that.
How are you feeling?
Not great.
Not great? Which ones tripped you up a little bit, you feel like?
I'm not a big NFL guy, so.
Okay. Oh, here comes Randy. Walking in right now. Over to his mic. No grapes in sight.
I always seem to get like 2 questions for the sport they don't like, and like 1 or 0 on the sport they actually want.
It's like you know.
That's
or
like
something.
I know. I don't know. Sorry. My apologies. It's completely random, I promise.
You make it tough, Rock. Make it tough.
Randoms on the gauntlet are always tough.
How would you do on those, Randy? Because that's not really sports related.
I want to do those so bad.
Yeah.
We should do that for tiebreakers.
As long as I would get
random.
options, I could do it.
There you go.
I think it's fair. I'm starting to mix it up a little bit. I think that's fair.
Say hi to Anthony, Randy.
Anthony, good morning. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Looking forward to hearing you this afternoon at 2 here on the opening drive. Is it our Anthony?
No.
Oh, it's not our Anthony. Okay.
No.
He's not a big NFL guy.
Okay. Our Anthony's a big NFL guy.
Yeah, I was going to say quite the opposite.
Yeah.
You ready for question number 1?
Ready.
Who was the St. Louis Rams' first ever draft pick?
The St. Louis Rams last first overall pick.
Who was the St. Louis Rams' first ever draft pick?
St. Louis Rams first ever draft pick. Oh, my guy. KC, Kevin Carter. University of Florida. Zoology major at the University of Florida. Great guy.
Zoology.
Has a son who plays football in the Ivy League, and he's brilliant. The entire family is brilliant.
Does Kevin come back much to St. Louis?
No, he doesn't. I saw him at the Hall of Fame last year, and I just adore him. He's one of my favorite people that I've ever met in sports. He's just a great guy.
How can he not go in? The Super Bowl's on the line. Get in there.
26 seconds left, and you're coming out of the Super Bowl.
Right.
He was a great player too, and he's a great immaculate grid guy. If you play the football immaculate grid, because he was with the Rams, Titans, Bucks, and Dolphins, he's always a good fit on the immaculate grid too.
Are you ready for question 2?
Yeah, was it Kevin Carter? That's final answer.
All right.
First ever, 1995. The draft for the media was held at Mike Shannon's because the Rams were drafting in L.A. still.
Oh.
Following the Blues.
John Carter might have been the first pick in that draft, by the way.
He was.
Okay.
Penn State.
Yeah. That's right.
John Carter.
Yeah. Bengals.
All right. You ready for question 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Following the Blues Cup runs. Let me start that over. Following the Blues Cup runs to start their time as a franchise, they would go almost 20 years with only 1 appearance in the conference finals. That came in 1986 when they lost to which team in 7 games?
Wickenheiser scores.
Are you going Monday Night Miracle on us?
I'm going Monday Night Miracle. I'm going Calgary Flames that we lost in 7-2 in 1986. I was at the Monday Night Miracle at the very, very top seat at the old arena. Very top seat.
Al McInnes was on the ice for the Flames.
Chopper, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? That was some game.
That seat, I believe, was curving like towards the ice at that point. When you're that high at the old arena, right?
Oh yeah,
that seat was curving towards the ice.
Right. Well, they were auxiliary press. Yeah. So yeah, we were curving towards the ice. You're exactly right.
You ready for question 3, Randy?
Ready.
Who is the only Cardinal to hit 10+ multi-home run games in one season?
10+ multi-home run games. I'm going to go with the guy that had 70. I'm going to go with Big Mac, Mark McGwire. Just going to play the odds here.
The all-time record for consecutive 100-yard rushing games is 14. Which Hall of Fame running back set that mark?
14 consecutive 100-yard rushing games. Dan, I'll do the lifeline here.
Barry Sanders.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Thurman Thomas. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay, my first thought was LT, but it seems like I may have won a fantasy football league title with Barry Sanders running for 100 yards in a bunch of games. So I'm going to go with Barry Sanders just because he won me that title.
You just love Barry Sanders when he wins you that fantasy league title.
Yep.
All right, Matthew, do your thing.
We have a winner today by the skin of their teeth. It's been a long time for Anthony. Does he come in here with a victory to start his day off before hosting a show? Or does Randy Karraker roll on with another close victory this week? That would be 4 straight, all of them very close. Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Karraker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
I'm so sorry, Anthony. Randy Karraker beat you 3-2 today. He just barely edged you out there at the end.
No worries, man. Have a good day, guys.
Thought it was a little mean of you to
You
do
too,
that,
Anthony.
Randy, but
Thank you.
okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good fight, a really close fight today. Let's go through the questions and the answers. Who was the St. Louis Rams' first ever draft pick? It was, in fact, Kevin Carter, and you guys even got it right. Kajana Carter was the first overall pick in that draft. Nicely done, everybody in the room.
Didn't have much of a career.
No.
And
he
want to know
struggled.
another anecdote about that morning of that draft? Is that we found out that Warren Sapp had tested positive for marijuana, the devil's lettuce, the wacky weed at the combine. And he fell. He probably would have been the Rams' pick at number 6 if he had not suffered that, if he had not failed that test.
I emceed Isaac Bruce's foundation dinner this last year. It was Warren Sapp.
Yep.
Of all people, you just didn't think Isaac Bruce and Warren Sapp,
No.
but he was awesome. Warren Sapp was
He can
absolutely
talk.
fantastic. Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you just don't want to get in a hotel room with him.
I got to nerd out really quick. Just
Easy.
based on positional
Randy.
things, does that mean that him getting caught is what made DeMarco Farr happen in St. Louis?
Yes.
DeMarco Farr, there's no 3 technique position available for him.
Right.
That's insane.
Yep.
I'd never thought about that. Wow. So DeMarco Farr has all of St. Louis, his whole entire run in St. Louis to be thankful for Warren Sapp getting popped right before the draft.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. It's crazy how things happen. Following the Blues Cup runs to start their time as a franchise, they would go almost 20 years, 1973 to 2000, with only one appearance in the conference finals. That came in 1986 when they lost in 7 games to the Calgary Flames. Who is the only Cardinal to hit 10-plus multi-home run games in one season. Mark McGwire hit 8 in his record-setting season, but in his 2009 MVP season, Albert Pujols set the Cardinals record with 10. And the all-time record for consecutive 100-yard rushing games is 14, held by Barry Sanders. He did it all in one season. His 1997.
97.
Yeah, his first 2 years when he went over 2,000 yards. His first 2 games in that season, he had 25 carries for 53 total yards. The next 14 straight games, 100-plus every single one of them, including 2 over 200 and 3 over 150. Absolutely unbelievable.
I think after those first 2 games, somebody may have traded him to me.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the worst trades in fantasy football history.
Not for me.
That got Randy a win then, and that got Randy a win today. A 3-2 win today over Anthony in the fight.
All right. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you to Anthony, and thanks for being with us for the fight. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Coming up next here on 101 ESPN, the PGA Championship is underway. What are some of the storylines from the PGA at Valhalla? That's next on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. There are some people and some companies that do amazing things for those that need more in our community. And it's happening again with the YMCA and the Boniface Foundation and Cardinals Care with the Adaptive Sports Complex in South County, brought to you by the Gateway Region YMCA. You can learn more at gatewayregionymca.org, GWRYMCA.org. One of the really cool things about this is that you can join Cardinals Care and the Boniface Foundation and the Y and Paul Goldschmidt to help out with Paul Goldschmidt Field. Yes, you can help. It's not too late to become a founding donor and leave a lasting legacy for Paul Goldschmidt Field. And here's what it is. It really is truly amazing. It's a Miracle League baseball field, inclusive playground, and multi-purpose field so kids and adults with disabilities can play sports. And working with the Cardinals, the Y is excited to share the field will be named the Paul Goldschmidt Field. Consider making sports available so that all children with disabilities can play ball and experience the joys of being on a team. Visit GWRYMCA.org if you'd like to be a part of it. That's GWRYMCA.org. Championship is underway at Valhalla in Louisville, and after 6 holes today, Xander Schauffele is 3 under par. He's tied with Victor Hovland for the lead. Doug Gim, Robert McIntyre, and Rory McIlroy are all at 2 under, along with Hideki Matsuyama, Jordan Spieth, and Tyrrell Hatton. And then a large group after that, obviously, is already on the course. And Tiger Woods is not off to a great start. He's even through 5. With Rory's win last week, I think that Scheffler comes in as the favorite, but I don't think Rory, in my mind, if I'm setting the odds, would be far behind.
I agree. I mean, this Valhalla went from 7,100 to 7,600. So you're talking about a guy that can bomb it, which would be part of the storyline, I think, for this weekend. I also think the other part is the weather. As we look at the weather here in St. Louis, in Louisville, there's a 70% chance of rain tomorrow and Saturday. So the fairways could be very soft. The balls won't roll. Going back to Rory, he's already won there. But you may have lift clean in place, which would help the scores go low. So maybe not travel as much, but then when you look at when these guys get to position the ball with lift clean in place, man, that can make a huge difference with some of the scoring that you may see this weekend.
You really do have a three-headed monster at the top of the field with Scotty Scheffler, Brooks Koepka, and, of course, Rory McIlroy. With that recent win under his belt, doesn't it kind of feel like everything is set up for maybe Rory to finally get his first major since 2014 to be able to win the PGA Championship?
Absolutely. And this is one that he's won before. And I think the interesting thing with Scheffler, even though he's played in the last 3 weeks, it's not tournament golf, but he's tried to stay sharp, is that he just had a baby. Congratulations to him with his wife Meredith, and he hasn't played in 3 weeks on tour. Obviously, we all know tournament golf is different than going out with playing with your buddy or something. But I don't know if that will affect him. He's just so good, but it's something to keep in mind as they head towards the weekend here at the PGA Championship. It's going to be fun.
I have a follow-up question for you guys, because you said that you didn't want to see him continue to win. Is it just because that he's not as exciting of a person, or what do you think that it is that you're just kind of tired of seeing this recent dominance from him?
And he's such a nice guy.
He is.
He
but
doesn't
it's
do
not
anything
that
wrong.
exciting.
He's just not, he's ho-hum, wins everything.
He's not vivid, as Jeremy Rutherford would say.
I just kind of want to see somebody else win. As you mentioned, Rory hasn't won a major in a long time. I'd love to see Tiger make a charge of some sort. I'm a fan of Brooks Koepka, so I know I'm the minority with that. I think he's a great villain, and it seems like the LIV players are villains, which obviously there's a handful of those guys in this tournament. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on it as to why. It's just probably because he wins all the time, and I just want to see somebody else win.
I want to see somebody get a Grand Slam.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and it hasn't. Obviously, Tiger had the Tiger Slam, but Scheffler is set up with the way he's playing to be able to be that dominant force. And I think that's one of the things that golf has missed since the demise of Tiger Woods. We've had guys that were supposed to be the next Tiger, right? Colin Morikawa was that guy. Jordan Spieth was that guy. Justin Thomas was that guy. But we haven't had that guy. And Scheffler's I think the best chance to be that guy that
I do.
You say, okay,
Yep.
he could threaten for, and Rory was that guy too, by the way, but he could threaten for a Grand Slam.
Rory just bombs the ball. When I watch him hit the golf ball, I am just in amazement, not only how far he hits it, but how high he hits it. And he's knocking it out there, 350, no problem whatsoever. And I mentioned how this is a Nicklaus design course, so off the tee, it is wide open. These guys can absolutely bomb it and go for it, and it's just amazing to watch these guys hit, and it's so funny. They talk about, we're going to have this roll back of the golf ball. It's not going to matter for the pros. It's going to be like 8 to 10 yards. What's the big deal?
That's the thing. So Rory will go from hitting an average of 350 to an average of hitting 348, 342.
Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, he won't be able to drive the green on 4 holes per par 4 on these courses.
Okay, here's a question. Does Tiger make the cut? No.
I don't think he will.
You don't think if he did it at the Masters with all the undulation going up and down with the bad leg, I think he does. I think he finds a way to make the cut.
I hope he does. I wonder if he can walk for 4 days. Well, he's got to be able to walk for 2. And he does. We're watching him right now, and he looks like he's moving around okay.
He looks like he's moving
but, man,
fine.
he has to put so much into playing on Friday after playing on Thursday.
That's the key, too. And getting into the weekend, and he blew up the Masters going into the weekend. That's really, really hard for him to do.
And if he has to deal with rain today, too, that'll hurt him.
Yeah, 70% chance tomorrow and Saturday.
Oh, no.
So he's... right now, the weather looks fine, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Looks pretty. These guys are, you can see Tiger's got his golf shirt is all wet. I mean, it looks like it's warm and muggy there.
Yep.
So,
and by the way, you mentioned the Scheffler storyline with the baby. The Rory storyline with the divorce is there, too.
It is.
You know, there's drama in Louisville this weekend.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't something that came by surprise. I'm sure it was something that was happening behind the scenes, and maybe this could actually be a positive thing for him. You might consider it a distraction, but if this was a long time coming, and then you have this conveniently happen right before the PGA Championship, I think the timing of it says a lot.
Mentioned it Mother's Day last weekend, and he didn't even mention his wife.
Yeah,
they interviewed him in the post tournament on the course, and Amanda asked him about Mother's Day and the influence that his mom has had on, which is a huge influence in his life, and didn't mention his wife. So
what about the woman who has your kids?
Now in retrospect, you go, oh, okay, it makes a little sense now.
Speaking of villains, did you see what Brooks Koepka did on the same day of the announcement that he was getting divorced from his wife?
I did.
And I'm talking about Rory. So Brooks posted an appreciation post about his wife the same day that Rory announced the divorce.
The timing was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where the villain aspect comes in.
Right. You can't count out Koepka at the PGA. As well as he's played, we saw that firsthand here in St. Louis. He's won that a bunch, it seems like, and he's always in contention with a major. He's always got a shot.
He's a big game player. The clutch gene exists.
Absolutely.
Brooks Koepka.
Absolutely.
By the way, at the moment, Scotty and Rory are even on FanDuel at plus 500. Schauffele is at plus 550. And these are changing as they're playing here. I'm watching these odds change. Then Koepka is fourth. You go from Xander at plus 550 to Koepka at plus 1,400, Rahm at plus 18, and Hovland at plus 2,000.
I thought it was interesting what Rahm had to say about the PGA. He said, well, I don't really feel like, I'm not a part of it anymore. And people affiliated with the PGA are like, are you kidding me? You left for LIV for $500 million and you're suspended right now. You can play in the majors, but that's it. And he does not have a chance to defend some of the places that he loves to play at. And that is what, as a golf fan, is disappointing. It's just not seeing these guys every single time. And, you get spoiled in watching these players play at the majors and can't watch them every weekend.
It's the classic case of buyer's remorse. And I think that with John Rahm in particular, he thought that his game and his name was going to force the merger. I don't think that there's any doubt that he thought that his move was going to be the difference in bringing everything together. Now Rory's saying, I'm not really confident that we're going to be able to get things together.
And I think he thought he'd bring more players, which then would force the issue, like you're saying. So didn't happen. It does sound like, though, there's movement potentially to bring this together. I mean, I was talking to some people that are in the know a little bit this past week, and they think that within the year you could have some type of merger. Now, there's a lot that has to go in that to have that happen, but at least it seems like there are some steps going in the right direction. I guess time will tell.
Don't you feel for the guys, though, who have been defending the PGA Tour and have stood by it instead of doing the other thing, which I know that having that amount of money dangled in front of you, a lot of people, it would be hard for them to pass up, but you had a lot of people who stood by the PGA Tour through all of this.
Right. And not only did you have those people, and they're going to be made, they're going to get more money, but they're going to be made whole relative to Rory could have gotten $400 million. What's he going to get, $100 million?
Something like that, right around there.
And if you can spend $100 million and not have money left over, then proud of you.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah. But still, $300 million here, $300 million there, starts to add up.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Coming up, we have some great news for you about the Battlehawks that you need to stick around for on our Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:04 in St. Louis. 9:05 in 3, 2, 1. Woof. 9:05 time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke, Dan, Matthew, Randy, and big news as we start our rush hour reset. The United Football League announced today that tickets for the 2024 UFL Championship game will go on sale to the public 1 week from today, Thursday, May 23rd at 9 a.m. Central Time. St. Louis Battlehawks season ticket members will be able to enjoy a special pre-sale to purchase tickets for the championship game on Tuesday, May 21st. All season ticket members will receive a pre-sale link and a private code to the sale. And due to the anticipated volume, all pre-sale orders must be completed online. The Battlehawks have also introduced 3 limited championship packages, which include 50-plus party suite tickets, a food and beverage package, replica jerseys, and more. And the Battlehawks tied for first place in the XFL conference. They have a chance to clinch a playoff berth with a victory Sunday when they host Jordan Teamu and the D.C. Defenders. So your opportunity to see a championship football game here in St. Louis, and tickets are available on Thursday, May 23rd, 1 week from today.
Has there been any update on A.J. McCarron because he was dealing with that ankle injury?
I have not heard.
I know. I haven't seen anything as well.
Let me see if I can check
Maybe
that out.
if Stoley's listening, he could give us a quick text.
Yeah.
He's usually pretty good about that.
We'll check that out. By the way, tomorrow we're going to talk to Jacob Sailors, the running back for the Battlehawks, as they get ready to take on D.C. on Sunday at the Dome. Cardinals lost last night 7-2 to the Angels, wrapping up the road trip. Had 3 straight wins before losing last night. They have a day off today. What time, if you play a West Coast game, Dan, that ends at 11 o'clock in Anaheim, so you're in SoCal, you probably get on the plane at 1 o'clock St. Louis time?
Yep.
And then, what, 4 hours to hit the ground? 3.5.
Yeah.
So you probably, we recorded yesterday with Kyle Gibson, who's coming up next here on the show. But Kyle probably, his head hit the pillow maybe 5 a.m.?
Yeah, that's about right. 5:15, 6, something like that. Yeah.
It's something.
And, if you have kids, a lot of times guys stay up. So if they're headed to school, they'll maybe take them to school or just get up with them, have breakfast or something like that. So, hey, that's part of what's going on in professional sports. Late nights, early mornings, and coming from the West Coast, you just have to deal with it.
And if you go to Cardinals.com, if you're interested in the Cards and the Red Sox this weekend, the Red Sox are an interesting team to watch, and Tyler O'Neill comes back to town. They've got good deals on tickets for this weekend series against the Boston Red Sox.
I'm a little nervous about this homestand, guys. Of course, you love when the Cardinals are back at home, but when you look at who they're facing during this 9-game homestand, you start to get a little bit worried there because they weren't able to complete the sweep against the Angels. They should have been able to do that. Runners in score position, we discussed that a lot during the course of the show. That still continues to be an issue. 1 for 10 last night, and they're hitting, I believe it was, 191 with RISP currently. That's not great. Now, something positive. You want run bunnies and roses. Did you sneeze?
Bunnies and roses. I was about to. I held it.
You have to just look at the light. Sorry to expose you like that. But Alec Burleson, I think that he's been a positive for this team offensively.
3 more home runs allowed, though. I know that we look at the offense as being hit and miss, and it's taken a lot of the blame early on. There's been some cracks here recently with the rotation, something to keep your eye on as they move forward. Cardinals have only hit 32 home runs, so that is something that you have to look at in a game of power. They're just not hitting the ball in terms of a lot of power from primarily the guys that you want to see that from. Although Goldie last night, opposite field home run to right center, that's a good sign. And as Brooke mentioned, it's going to be a tough homestand coming up. Boston can flat out pitch. They're number 1 in baseball in pitching. Then you see the Orioles. They have not been swept in over 100 series going back a couple years. And then you got the rival Cubs coming into town, so should be fun to watch.
Should be very interesting. At the PGA Championship, Doug Ginn has... Well, he had tied for the lead until Xander Schauffele birdied number 7. Schauffele now leads at 4 under through 7. Doug Ginn and Victor Hovland, along with Jordan Spieth, all at 3 under par as they play the first round of the PGA Championship at Valhalla Club in Louisville.
Xander Schauffele is in the top 5 or top 10 of every tournament. He just can't get over the top.
way, so much the best player that hasn't won a major, right?
I think so. Michael Block, remember he was the story of the PGA Championship Club Pro going out, and his final day he was paired with Rory McIlroy on a Sunday at the PGA Championship. Well, not the same story this year. He's already +5. After, I think, 2. I think he took a snowman.
Yeah, he needs. Oh, that's
not
a
good.
Karraker hole there.
Yeah, me too.
And Jason Tatum are on and the Celtics on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA. They beat Cleveland last night and advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd year in a row. And I can't say that I think that the Celtics will beat the Denver Nuggets, but I do think this is Boston's best chance. Even though they got to the finals against Phoenix, I think this is their best chance to win a title.
They get to the Eastern Conference Finals, it seems like every year right now, with Jason Tatum, who, by the way, had basically a historic series, which was just wrapped up. Led the series in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and I think blocks as well. And there's only been a handful of players that have ever done that in NBA history. He's must-see TV, and he's St. Louis's own Jason Tatum. Pretty cool.
He's great. I think one of the things that is going to have to happen, and I want Matthew to weigh in here, I think Robert Porzingis is going to have to be healthy. If they get to the finals against Denver, I think they're going to have Porzingis.
Yeah, I mean, that's no doubt. I mean, they have a colossally large points margin this entire season. It's huge compared to the Nuggets, I think, are the next closest one. And I think the Celtics almost have double their entire plus margin in points. And it's not just because they're a good offensive team. It's because they are a great defensive team. And Kristaps Porzingis certainly helps with that.
Yeah. I said Robert. I don't know why I said Robert Porzingis.
No.
Kristaps is his name.
Yeah.
Just call him Special K.
I did not pick up on that at all.
But
I think it's because you were thinking Robert Williams, and then you switched to Porzingis in your head.
I may have. Thanks. I appreciate that. No problem. That's your Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Cardinal right-hander Kyle Gibson getting ready for Sunday night and swinging for impact with Big League Impact. Big Game Gibby Jim joins us next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke for Decor Interiors and Jewelry. I know that Mother's Day has passed, but that doesn't mean that the gift giving has to stop. So you should go visit my friends at Decor Interiors and Jewelry. It's in Chesterfield at Olive and Woods Mill Road. Right when you walk in, you will just be blown away by all the options. If you didn't already know, I know it's in the name, but let me just say this again. Decor Interiors and Jewelry is 2 stores in one, a contemporary furniture store, and also an incredible showroom with all of the most beautiful diamonds you've ever seen. That is actually where I got my engagement ring, and I get compliments on it all the time. I stopped by their store recently because I had to pick out a wedding band, and I got sidetracked because Joe, the owner there, he's always there. He's so nice and kind. We spent an hour just looking at all the different stuff that he has in store currently. What's big right now? Diamond tennis bracelets and necklaces, the best quality in town. And Joe and his staff, they know diamonds and gems. They always have the time to educate you on your purchase. So why not have them help you find the perfect gift for that someone in your life? Go stop by Decor showroom today and tell them I sent you. Decor, always unique, always affordable.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Grimsley, Randy Karraker, and we head to the celebrity line now. And our friend from Big League Impact, Cardinal right-hander Kyle Gibson, kind enough to join us on a Thursday morning. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Everything's good back here in St. Louis. Glad you guys are back after that road trip. And you guys kind of got things going with that last game in Milwaukee and then the way things went against the Angels. Kyle, you've been around a long time. How big of a factor in baseball is momentum? Is it a thing?
It is absolutely a thing. It is definitely a thing in game. There's different ways that you can kind of snag and keep momentum, whether it's a pitching change at the right time or a hit at the right time. And then team momentum and team confidence, I would say those two kind of go hand in hand when it comes to game. But yeah, I mean, I think that was the last day in Milwaukee was big for us, winning a close game. I even think the day before, getting a few runs off Peralta, even though that game didn't go our way, Peralta's a really tough test for every hitter. So getting 3 off him, I think, also gave us a little confidence going into that last game into Milwaukee. And then, we just played really, really good baseball. Like we had played most of the year, right? But then I think, we were getting knocks and pushing runs across when we really needed to.
And I know that, of course, stringing together a couple of wins, as you talked about, everything is feeling good right now amongst everybody. Has the atmosphere changed at all in the clubhouse? Because you've mentioned it, other players as well, and as well as Ollie Marmol, that things really haven't been bad in the clubhouse despite some of the recent struggles. Has the atmosphere changed since you have been able to string together a couple of wins here?
I don't think the atmosphere in the clubhouse has changed because, that's the goal of every good team and leadership on teams is trying to keep that atmosphere in the locker room consistent, whether bad game, good game, win, loss. But I do think, if you're watching on TV or if you're at the stadium, just the feeling in the dugout can change in the middle of it, right? As much as you try to play 9 innings and not look at the scoreboard and figure out the end of the game at the end of the game, it's human nature to let the shoulders go down, to feel the weight of a looming loss, or to feel the excitement of a upcoming win, right? So I think that's kind of where I see it is when you get the momentum and you get the confidence going in game, you just see a little bit more pep, you see a little bit more spring right there in the dugout and on the field as you get closer to securing that win.
Speaking of leadership, on Sunday, Ollie Marmol, of course, as we all know, was ejected from the game. So was Daniel Descalso. As a veteran player, as you watch that play out, what are you thinking?
I was thinking about my conversation that I had with Ollie in the first inning about how he hadn't been thrown out and how, all of that was going on so far this year, because it was literally in the first inning that I was standing there next to him. And the very first pitch of the game, Gary Sanchez had dropped it. And I've known Alan Porter a long time, and I just started yelling at Alan because he called it a strike. I was like, how do you call that a strike? The ball's on the ground. And he had a little bit of fun and yelled back and said, why does it matter? It's down the middle. And he kind of laughed at us, and we were both joking. And, Ollie kind of started talking about, the ejections and that kind of interactions with umpires. And sure enough, 2 innings later, he and the scouts were getting ran out of the game. But that's honestly what I thought about right away. But I do think there are times where coaches can show fire at the right time and have their players back and make sure that the players see the excitement and the fire and the desire out of the coaches, just like we all want to have. So I think it was the right moment, right time of the game. It wasn't, I don't know that it came across necessarily as, complaining as much either, because he did it after we got the calls to go our way. This was just, hey, you guys can clean it up too, and you guys can get these right and not have to make us go through this. So I think it was good all around.
Do you have a managerial ejection from somebody that managed you that sticks out in your mind? Did somebody have just an outrageous argument or ejection?
Ron Gardenhire was always very fiery, as I'm sure you guys remember. I think the one that normally surprised me was Paul Molitor. He didn't get ejected very often, but I'm pretty sure he got a couple of them in my time there in Minnesota. And those are the surprising ones because he was so quiet and he was so stoic in the dugout, and you never knew what he was thinking. You never knew if he was happy or sad. Like that's his personality. So when he went off, it was always with good reason. And it was always like, oh man, Molly's got a little fire in her, man. How about that?
It's always the silent one. Speaking of being fiery and passionate, and I don't know if you know this, but the cameras caught you this past weekend on Saturday after your outing when you were in the dugout and you were watching Jojo Romero. You were pretty fired up and amped up, but I mean, who isn't after what Romero did getting out of the jam?
Yeah, in that situation going into the sixth, I have no idea what my pitch count was, but Ollie came up and asked me how I felt, and I told him I felt great because I did. So he gave me that sixth inning, and obviously the couple walks and the blue pit to start it. I just put us kind of in a really bad spot there. Obviously, bases loaded and no outs and a 2-run lead, but JoJo just came in there and did an amazing job, and those kind of things are huge for a team. Obviously, it didn't end up working out after the 9th inning for us, but those are the kind of things that really lift a team up and really, we talk about momentum, right? We had just scored to extend the lead, and that was a really, really big job for JoJo in the middle of that game to get out of that. So, I think, you can also elevate momentum on your side and kind of keep that going. With the energy you have, and JoJo just had me fired up. That was an awesome job.
Kyle, as you have gone through your career, you mentioned that Ali asked you how you felt. You said great because I did, but I'm sure that there have been times in your career where you've told a manager you felt great when you didn't. How do you come to grips with that? Because you're a competitor, you want to be out there, but also you reach a point in your career where you got to be honest too, right?
Yeah, I would say probably earlier in my career. Always told him I felt good. Very rarely did I was younger too, so very rarely did I not feel good. But, I found that I want to say it might have been in Texas. Chris Woodward, we had a pretty veteran staff there in 2020 and then a little bit in 21. And he really wanted to ride the starters. And he just said, listen, I need to know when you guys feel good and when you don't. And if you're always telling me you feel good, then, I'm going to have to start making that judgment, and I'd rather not have to do that. So, you got to learn to be realistic. And there's times where I've said, hey, I'm getting tired. Give me one runner. If a guy gets on, come grab me. Just certain things like that where, yeah, you got to be realistic when the manager is going to put trust in your word about how you feel, because if you're always saying you feel good even at 100 pitches, he knows that's not true, and then he's going to have to start making that decision. And I'd rather him be able to trust the fact that when I say I'm good, and when I say I'm tired, then it's time to go.
And I mentioned on the show the other morning, Kyle, I really liked the way Ollie treated Sonny Gray when he had the 5-0 lead and he gives up the 5-0 lead. The Cardinals brought you guys in to give innings, and Ollie is letting you do that and work through some things. Your situation, he easily could have left you in, but he's giving you the opportunity to give the club innings.
Yeah, I think in a lot of those situations, so far this year, it's just going to show that it's going to be really important for the bullpen to try and make sure that we can get through 5, 90% of the time. And then if we can get through, for sure 6, another 70% of the time, man, it just does wonders to save the bullpen. So, when you have a lead, and in Sonny's case specifically, when you have a lead in that type of a game and you have the stuff that Sonny has, I can't speak for Ollie, but I feel like I would say to myself, man, I'm never worried about him, giving up too big of an inning, except for, the one swing there to a hoppy. But, you're never worried about just because of the swing and miss stuff that he has and the ability to get out of a jam so quickly. So, but man, it's tough he was at like 65 pitches in the 5th inning. It's tough to waste the extra 30 pitches that he has in the tank, knowing that if he just gets it clicking, he can get 3 more innings in those next 30 pitches and punch out 5 guys. And you're looking at a guy who got through, 7 or 8 innings and only giving up 4 runs. So, when you got your guy on the mound like that, some of those games you just got to let him go and let him get to his 100 pitches.
Kyle, I have a very important follow-up question for you that we discussed last week. How did Mother's Day go this past weekend with the kids in charge?
You know what? I think it went good. I didn't end up. I thought I was going to see my mom in Milwaukee, but I didn't. They didn't make it up. But I didn't forget to call people, which I think if they're listening and I did, then I guess I did mess up. But I don't think I forgot to call anybody. And the only thing that didn't work out was shipping got one of the things for my wife there a little bit late. So, but that's just something you can't predict. So, but overall, the kids and their aunt did a great job getting everything ready for mom and then my mother-in-law.
Good job. Hey, before we get to Big League Impact and Swing for Impact coming up on Sunday night, before we talk to you next time, the Orioles are going to come to town. And I'm sure that was fun for you to see such a young group last year blossom. You were kind of probably like the uncle of the group. But what was that experience like, seeing that young Orioles team come of age?
I appreciate you referencing me as an uncle, because they reference me as a grandpa most of the time. So I appreciate that.
You gotta go.
It was really fun. It was just one of those pretty special years of baseball. I've had a lot of fun ones and a lot of memorable ones, and that was another one. Watching a group that everybody saw how good they were at the end of 2022. Saw the team they could be, but didn't expect them to reach it. They didn't have high expectations for us. And, we knew in that locker room that we had a chance to be really good. So watching those young guys become really, really good baseball players faster than people thought, and handle it in such an amazing way and not let it get to their head and allow them to keep their confidence even in dry spells, man. What a privilege it was to kind of be there and be able to see that. So, and then this year they're playing well and playing good baseball again. So, Baltimore fans are going to have a really fun team to cheer for quite a few years. But the people in that locker room and the people in that front office are just good people, and it made it even that much more fun.
And we're looking forward to Sunday night. That'll be fun too at Chesterfield Top Golf, the Big League Impact Swing for Impact, and you and a lot of your teammates are going to be out there. And there's a lot going on with Big League Impact beyond Swing for Impact on Sunday. You've got the All Win campaign, and I know a lot of your teammates are involved heavily with what's going on with the foundation.
Yeah, the all-win campaigns are something that Adam had started a long time ago, and they've been really successful. And we're trying to just create so many opportunities for fans to be engaged with things that players are passionate about, and we all want to be a part of something bigger, right? We all want to feel like we're having a positive impact on the communities around us that need help, and the all-win campaign is another way to do it, and for fans to join in. And just even if they just want to look up causes that players are passionate about, we've got those, listed in our profiles there at bigleagueimpact.org. But we got another few events coming up this year. So if you weren't able to make the Swing for Impact, then just be on the lookout here, on our interviews each week or on my social media, KGIB44. Because we're going to have, a few other things coming up that are going to be a lot of fun. But, this event's going to help fund Mission 318, some of our work that we've been doing, around the league as players visit charities on their road trips. And, it's going to have a lot of impact just all around the country with people that need it.
It'll be fun. Kyle, we're looking forward to seeing you on Sunday night. Good luck in your next start, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Kyle Gibson, who starts for the Cardinals tomorrow night against Boston. And Greg Amsinger told us earlier that he thinks the Cardinals might have a chance against the Red Sox for one specific reason. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Brooke here, and I want to share with you something that I wish that I knew about a while ago, and that is Golden Oak Lending. Listen, we've all possibly been there before. I know a lot of people have, racking up credit card debt and maybe even student loans. I know that I've been there, but the people over at Golden Oak Lending, they are there to help. While credit card payments have been at an all-time high and mortgage rates have gone through the roof, there's good news. Mortgage rates have started to come down. Golden Oak Lending has mortgage rates at 5.375% fixed, with customers saving on average $1,114 a month. Golden Oak just makes it so easy. I called in and spoke to Jason, who made the call just quick and professional. He educated us on our current loan and our house and what to look for in the future. Finance has never really been my thing. It always kind of felt taboo to talk about, but Jason really made sure to educate and guide me to the best solution for my needs. And that's what they do there at Golden Oak Lending. Personalized service that makes you feel heard and really addressing your needs and stress surrounding finances. So call today at 314-567-GOLD now to get started, or go to goldenoaklending.com and see the reviews for yourself and where to get started. 5.934% APR, FHA, 15-year fixed with 20% equity and qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS number 114937.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals last night fall to the Angels 7-2. They will start a 3-game series tomorrow, hosting the Boston Red Sox. Also last night, St. Louis City SC, a loss to LAFC 2-0. That is just their second loss of the year. In the NBA playoffs, the Celtics down the Cavaliers 113-98 to win their series 4-1. The Mavericks outlast the Thunder 104-92. They take a 3-2 series lead in that series. And in the NHL playoffs, the Avalanche continue to stabilize, staving off elimination against the Stars with a 5-3 win. Stars still lead that series 3-2. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Given a brand new approach to beating other teams with a rotation that does not have velocity. And all of these guys are spinning it. If it's a fastball, it's a sinker, or it's a cutter. Everything has movement. They're not doing anything straight. I don't know if it can last the test of time. It seems like pitchers aren't exactly built with armor, so they can like come and go in terms of health. And to do that and expect that to work for 162 is a tall order. But at the moment, it's a new approach to pitching, and it seems to be working right now.
That is Greg Amsinger of MLB Network with us earlier here on the opening drive, talking about the fact that, while very successful, the Boston Red Sox aren't doing it in a typical way in 2024. They don't have the exceptional velocity that a lot of teams have. They aren't throwing the four-seamer as much, and that might play into the Cardinals' hands. Now, these numbers have changed a little bit, but John Hambadakis of The Greenie Show had this statistic a couple of weeks ago.
They can't hit the fastball. This is a team that cannot handle velocity. It's a 347 slug against fastball and a 105 isolated power. Both of those rank 29th. This is a crazy statistic, by the way, and one that's very predictive when it comes to modern-day offenses.
That the Cardinals just don't hit the fastball. And 95-plus fastballs, they had something like 2 extra base hits and over 500 at-bats against 95-plus fastballs. So if you aren't seeing as many, logically, that would lead you to believe that you have a better chance against a team that doesn't throw as hard.
I would say things even out, too. You know, that's something that it was historically bad to start the season, but in baseball, things have a way of evening out. It wouldn't surprise me with Goldie starting to look better at the plate that you know, those numbers change a little bit against a fastball. He was seeing a bunch. And as long as he starts to hit a little bit, those numbers will change. And I would say that probably the same thing goes for Arenado.
There's a lot of layers to this with the Red Sox. Obviously, you have Chaim Bloom, who is now with the Cardinals organization, but all the stuff that happened with the Red Sox, I think that it's safe to say he might not be well-liked because of everything that happened. But that was a tough situation to come in with the whole Mookie Betts situation and having to move on from that either way. But there's just a lot of layers with that. And you have Tyler O'Neill coming in, and he is definitely going to be motivated against his former club.
I would say that looking at this homestand, not that it's make or break, but this is going to give you a pretty good idea of where you're at. I have said I'll make a full evaluation with the team Memorial Day. That's kind of when I think that you are who you are. And things can change. You get close to the trade deadline, you go out and make some moves, good or bad for the club, and that seems to change things as you head down the stretch of the season. But Memorial Day is usually kind of a benchmark of this is who you are, and so these next 3 series against very good teams might give you a better idea of just where the Cardinals are as they start playing better here, winning 3 of 4, but against a team that was, you know, talking about the Angels, you win 2 of 3. They're on pace for 102 losses, so you're going to face better competition starting tomorrow night.
And to the point of the offense, 5 games in a row for the Cardinals, well, 4 out of 5 with 10-plus hits, and then last night they had 9. But you're going against teams. The Cubs have really good pitching. The Red Sox have the best pitching in the majors. ERA 2.78, starting pitching ERA 2.54, and then Baltimore is just an elite team. So and Memorial Day is 12 days away. By the end of this homestand, which is, by the way,
that's where I'm going with this.
Memorial Day weekend,
right?
We'll have a pretty good idea of what the Cardinals are capable of. I do think teams have a tendency to kick in, but as we mentioned, the Cardinals were capable against a really bad team. Now's an opportunity to show it against good teams.
Don't you think that we kind of know who they are currently right now? They're around a 500 team, and they've been below that. And you have a lot of just different issues popping up. Now, Steven Matz, the injury, that, of course, throws a lot of things off. But starting pitching-wise, you're seeing a dip with some of the players. Now, Sonny Gray, he's not going to be perfect all the time. I completely get that. But I believe that his average, it was around 1, and then it's up to 3, I believe, around that range right now. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. But then you have Lance Lynn, what happened last night. His inability sometimes to get past 5 innings. Has he only done that just one time so far this season?
Right.
So you have the issues that we've seen with offense. Starting pitching has been able to buy you some time, but now you're also starting to add in the starting pitching, maybe not being able to fully do their part, putting a lot of stress on the bullpen. It feels very much like last year in some of the situations that we saw. And now you add the offense to it as well.
Overall, they're 7th from the bottom in ERA to prove your point here, Brooke. In 19 starts, Michaelis Matz, Liberatore, Zach Thompson, 6-13 in those games. And that means there's extra importance on Lynn, Gibson, and Gray when they make those starts. I'm not ready to say that this offense is just going to be horrible all season. And I say that because you're starting to see Goldie come out of it and Arenado come out of it a little bit. He's not out of it, but he's hitting for a little bit more power. So, he's been okay this year. Not great, not what you wanted power numbers. But if those two guys hit, it's just a different offense, and it seems like it takes pressure off others in the lineup. And, it just seemed like this team was feeling so much pressure against Milwaukee. I mean, it looks a little different right now from what you're seeing because they're hitting.
Can I go a little sunshine lollipops after last year for the Cardinals? Cardinals lead Major League Baseball in save percentage at 78%. Only 3 teams have blown fewer saves than the Cardinals' 4 blown saves, and those are the Reds, Rockies. Interestingly, the Rockies don't have any save opportunities, right? And the Mariners. Those are the 3 teams that have 3 blown saves. The Cardinals and the Blue Jays each have 4. So those things that ailed the bullpen last year have been eradicated this year. So the bullpen has been fixed at least a quarter of the way through the season.
I think, and the way that they're using guys has been really, Ollie takes a lot of heat, but how he's used the bullpen has been outstanding. And you've got Romero, who's emerged in the 7th. You got Kittredge in the 8th. You got Helsley in the 9th when he goes. And then you're going to add Middleton at some point. So even though these starters don't go deep, and there are some, there's some cracks here in the armor a little bit, that is a positive for this club.
And I want to give some credit to Ryan Helsley because I gave him grief during the offseason about not pitching back-to-back. And
he's starting to do it.
Yeah, so he's there when the Cardinals, he has been there. Every time the Cardinals have needed him for a save situation, he's been there this year.
Just hasn't had a ton of them.
Right.
It's just you've had some losing streaks in there. You don't want to waste them. You're thinking, okay, if we get a chance to win a game, he's in. And he's been in back-to-back games. And it's sometimes, I don't know if you guys feel this way, sometimes it feels to me like this is a must-win game. When you have a chance, like Sunday's game was must-win against Milwaukee, and there's other times that I felt this way this season just because the record hasn't been very good from the onset of the start of the 2024 campaign.
Ryan Helsley really has been only one of the bright spots, and it also feels like when he's coming out, okay, this is going to get done. It's a guaranteed win for the Cardinals. And that's a nice feeling to have when he's able to come out of the pen and be able to do that. I just wish that you could feel it in other situations, like, say, bases loaded, and maybe Paul Goldschmidt comes up to the plate, that you have a good feeling about that. But it's not just Goldie. There's other players as well where you have runners on, and they come up to the plate, and you're like, okay, what is going to happen here? But at this point, you feel like you know what's going to happen. Even against the Angels, that was really the most that I've watched them in a while. And that's not a good baseball team over there.
No, they're kind of scuffling. I want to see them more. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see the Cardinals against the Angels more.
I still get a kick out of Ron Washington.
Me too.
And what he said the other night with Kiorme. I mean, the one thing, too, is that it was 1.5 feet outside. They actually measured it. It was 1.5 feet outside. And he didn't get the bunt down. And the player took, the brunt of the criticism on himself and said, I missed the ball. I got to get it down. And then Ron Washington says, not my fault. You can't do that.
Here's the thing, though, Dan. Kerry Davis sat in that chair, that very chair that you're sitting in, for years, talking about how, no, it's on the players. It's not on the manager. It's on the players have to execute. So there's a manager that was just saying what the players think is that the players have to execute.
So the player takes the brunt of it. But I just don't think as a manager you come out and publicly, they all know. Right? It's on the play. Like, I look at what has happened with the Cardinals. It's on the players.
Yeah, but I think he was frustrated. I think at that point, Ron Washington.
But that's how you lose a clubhouse.
Yeah, you can. Right.
No
doubt.
That's where I get concerned.
That's what happened. Remember when Mike Yo would walk up to the podium with the red face? I think he lost the team at the podium. And you're capable of doing that as a manager, no doubt about it.
And you got to say, as a player, this guy's got our back.
Yeah.
No matter what, good, bad, indifferent, and when he goes to that podium, we can trust that he's got our back.
Quarterbacks and managers and coaches, when the team wins, it's because of them. When the team loses, it's because of me.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Good credo to take. Coming up, we're going to give away some Cardinal tickets for tomorrow, and we've got Rock and Roll here on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and this year we decided it was time to make a major upgrade to our home by updating our bathroom. We have this house in Youth City. It's over 100 years old, and we love it, but we never exactly loved our main bathroom. So we decided it was time to make a big change, and we reached out to one of our great sponsors here of 101 ESPN, and that is EMB Granite. EMB Granite's team visited our house for a free consultation, and they came up with a vision of how to really transform our bathroom. My favorite part of working with EMB Granite was stopping by their amazing showroom to explore their large selection of in-stock custom countertops, all their different cabinet options, and of course, my favorite part was picking out the new colors for our bathroom. Jen was the one who was working with us, and she has just been fantastic. She came up with so many great ideas that fit within our budget, and that's what they do there at EMB Granite. They've been doing it for over 20 years, turning visions into realities. So schedule your free consultation by calling 314-645-9300 or go online to embgranite.com or stop by their showroom today and make sure you mention that I sent you. Hey everyone, it's Brooke here for the Face and Body Spa and Salon. Guys, listen up. It's time to focus on your own self-care. As we get ready for summer, I want you to check out Face and Body for Men. You can rely on Face and Body for hair removal, weight loss, body sculpting, skincare, as well as PRP treatments. And what about back hair? Randy's over there signaling to that. Back hair problems, look, I know it's something that every guy, I think, pretty much goes through in this room. Every time I talk about this, Dan's shaking his head no. But if you want to be like Dan, you want to have a hairless back, then you should go to the Face and Body Spa for Men. Recently, I took in David because he's trying to get ready for the summer. We're going to go on our honeymoon in Croatia, and so he wants to be hairless on his back, and it was super quick and easy. It took just 15 minutes, and I timed it for the time we went in there and the time we left, and it was not painless whatsoever, according to him, of course. And that's what they do there at the Face and Body Spa. They just get you in and out. It's super easy, and he said that he will see those results in a few sessions, and with 6 area locations, I'm confident that you'll be wowed by the experience at the Face and Body Spa and Salon too. Call them today at 314-725-8975 or learn more at faceandbodyspa.com. That's faceandbodyspa.com.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Ball played in over the top. It bounces nicely. Bawanga! Clinical. Absolutely clinical.
It's just not good enough, how we stand. It should never be that their best player is all alone 2 times in the same game. 1v1 against the goalkeeper is never a good look for the defense.
Absolutely clinical.
It was too. It was absolutely clinical.
Beautiful thing for them. LAFC with a 2-0 clean sheet against St. Louis City SC last night on the pitch over at City Park.
It shouldn't have been a clean sheet. They took 1 goal off the board because of a, in my opinion, questionable handball call, and you had Klaus missing.
Unquestionable, it was brutal.
Yeah, and you had Klaus missing the penalty kick, which obviously that'll happen, but it's rough.
Can't. Now Klaus, somebody can miss that, but not Klaus.
Yeah, fine.
Randy's fired up over there.
You got to have your best players making plays.
Do you have a Marcanic joke?
He's reliable. He's a reliable Marcanic. Problem was the handball kind of frustrated me.
Yeah, and then he got a red card later.
I'm all about red cards.
It was a rough day for Marcanic.
Yeah. He wasn't reliable.
Not as reliable.
Lutz was pretty fired up as well. What do you think he was saying in that moment if we did some lip reading?
Lutz?
Yeah, did you see him?
I did not see Lutz in that moment. No,
Well, they showed on TV that Lutz was talking to the refs for a little bit there.
Yeah,
so.
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, they were pretty perturbed with the refs. I can't blame them. It was a weirdly called game.
First home loss of the campaign on the table for St. Louis City SC.
Nice. I like that.
Thank you.
But you have a quick turnaround on to Cincinnati. Do you have that?
I took my machine away.
No!
God darn it.
What time we need on to Cincinnati?
I took my machine away.
At first I thought you had it, and then all I saw over there was a lunch box instead of your favorite little box that you typically have.
My Miami Sun machine.
Your toy, as Danny Mac says.
Yeah.
Hey, kids.
2-year-old over here with his sound machine.
101 ESPN is your chance to win a pair of tickets for First Beer Friday tomorrow night at the ballpark against the Red Sox. First Beer Friday tickets start at just $15 and include your first cold beer on the house. Get all the ticket info for tomorrow night's First Beer Friday game now at cardinals.com/Friday. And you can win a pair of tickets right now just by texting into 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO to score a pair of tickets to the game tomorrow night against the Red Sox. But you need to answer this question and be texter number 47. Texter number 47.
Lee Smith.
Jesus.
On May 4th,
Was that not supposed to say that?
1990, the Cardinals acquired Hall of Famer Lee Smith from the Boston
You were
Red
not
Sox.
supposed to reveal the answer.
Who did they trade for Lee Smith?
Well, you said 47, so it just popped in my head. Lee Smith.
Okay. Who did the Cardinals trade to Boston for future Hall of Famer Lee Smith?
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say it. I was going to say you nailed it. No, you're fine.
Yeah, you did it. You win, Dan.
All right.
No.
You win.
Who did the Cardinals trade for Lee Smith? That's the question.
Okay.
To the
Did you
Boston
just
Red
change
Sox.
that on the fly?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay. You didn't finish the rest of it.
was the
Oh,
plan,
okay.
yeah.
At first, I thought that's what happened
All
there.
right.
No. it
Sorry,
was-
Randall.
We're a little locked into golf over here in this corner of things. That's what happened.
We're good. Matthew's thoroughly enjoying this.
He is.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was hilarious to me, Danny. That was the best.
I'm sorry.
That was the best part of the show, and it's not even close. God, that was the highlight. Ooh.
I was filling in on the fast lane.
Yeah.
Like last year, and I don't know. I was not paying attention. I said Joe Morgan, and it was the answer to a question, and Anthony just looked at me befuddled. And I don't know why. We were talking about Joe Morgan, and I just said Joe Morgan, and that was the answer to a question.
Why the face?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
You're just helping people out.
I
That's
was.
it.
But I think Randy switched the question on the fly.
No, I didn't. I swear I didn't.
Okay. All right.
It's a great moment either way.
So, on a rainy day in St. Louis, it's a good day to watch the PGA Championship, right? We can sit around. Cardinals have the day off, and we'll be able to watch some playoff hockey tonight and some playoff basketball tonight. We'll have that. Tomorrow, Xavier Scruggs, our buddy, is going to join us. He's one of my favorite people, the former Cardinal first baseman. Man, what a great media career he has going right now. So he is going to join us, along with Battlehawks running back Jacob Sailors tomorrow, as the Battlehawks get ready to take on the DC Defenders, featuring Jordan Teamu over at the Dome. Chance to nail down a playoff spot for the Battlehawks on Sunday at the Dome.
Are you going to go?
I will. I'm planning on going. Yes,
Good.
sir.
I've not seen a Battlehawks game yet. I need to get down there and go check one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll
gonna be
check
fun.
it out
I think
maybe.
they're going to have a good crowd on Sunday, although the Cardinals and Red Sox are playing at the same time. But I would guess they'll be north of 30,000 again.
Didn't really affect them. What was it? The home opener? They had 40 plus?
Yeah, 41 or something like that.
And the Cardinals were in town, so I bet they get a pretty nice crowd.
I would think so, too. Tickets available, by the way, at uflbattlehawks.com. Or you can just Google Battlehawks tickets and you can get them. So, pretty cool. Great job today by our producer. By the way, do we have a winner yet? Are you checking the text machine there?
We got a lot of the same answers, so yeah, we got to win.
Okay, so you want to just tell them who it is? We got 47, don't we? Mike
Go for
Ryder's, he'll come up with 47.
It's one of my favorite Cardinals names.
Tom
Bruno.
Bernansky?
Tom Bernansky, number 23. Yeah, acquired for Tommy Herr from the Minnesota Twins in 1988, and that was kind of the beginning of the end of Whitey Ball.
Sure was.
Yeah.
Yep.
When they traded Tommy Herr. Great job today by producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes, I drew a little smiley face. It's me with freckles. And then somebody's ERA, but I forgot who.
Is that Sonny Gray?
No.
Be the Red Sox collectively 2.78, maybe?
That's what it is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Well done. Good.
Do I get a golden star for the
Dude,
day?
little gold star right on a freckle. Yeah. Danny Mac.
Great job, Randall. Great job,
by
Brooke.
you,
Great
as
job,
always.
Rock.
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Stick around. We've got a balloon party with T-Mac and Ajax coming up, followed by BK and Ferrario from 11 to 2, and then from 2 to 6, it's the Fast Lane. And tonight, T-Wolves and Nuggets, Game 6 pregame at 7 here on 101 ESPN. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Friday Eve, St. Louis.
That's right.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke for Decor, Interiors, and Jewelry. I know that Mother's Day has passed, but that doesn't mean that the gift giving has to stop. So you should go visit my friends over at Decor, Interiors, and Jewelry. It's in Chesterfield at Olive and Woods Mill Road, right